Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Arnold Anderson Stadium in Brantford, Ontario for some Sunday afternoon IBL action. Hello to our Rogers TV and Brantford Red Sox IBL YouTube audience. We are ready for a nice, beautiful, hot day of IBL baseball as the visiting Guelph Royals make the 45-minute trip down to Brantford to take on one of the hottest home teams in the IBL, but the only team eliminated from the playoffs, your Brantford Red Sox. Marshall Crocker today on the call. Welcome. You'll be used to my voice if you've been watching us all season on Brantford Red Sox IBL YouTube, or if you've caught the weekly Rogers TV Brantford Red Sox report. But we welcome myself, and alongside me, as he is all season here for Brantford, Mr. Brian Hawley, former IBL bench coach, former umpire, one of the most knowledgeable men in all of baseball, and a man who knows many of these players on the visiting Guelph Royals today well. Welcome in, Brian.
Well, thanks very much. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here, and we love doing games at Arnold Anderson. And yeah, I had a pleasure to talk to a couple of guys before the game today, Liam Wilson, not the least of which, who anyone who caught the episode that I was on the Red Sox report made my top 3 list of favorite guys to coach. And he won't be playing today. He's fighting shall we say, a lower body injury, if I could be cryptic like the hockey players do. So we'll miss him out there today. They'll miss him at first base because, as I mentioned on the program, he is one of the best defensive first basemen ever to play in this league, and plus he's a dangerous bat, big power bat, high average RBI producer as well. And of course the longtime manager Dino Ramel, who anybody who's listened to our programs, me telling stories about back in the day when I was umpiring when this was the senior intercounty league before it was like the IBL, the time where I threw him out of a game in St. Thomas when they still had a team as well. So yeah, it's always a pleasure to see the Guelph team. They got a lot of good players. They're having a good season, and we expect a good ball game today.
Today's really a crossover between the Brian Hawley cinematic universe of all the guys you've been talking about all season. We're starting off today, Leandro Mejia, the man on the mound for the Brantford Red Sox. His first opponent for the Guelph Royals, as we get kicked off here in the top of the first, is going to be Mr. Connor Morrow, starting today at the shortstop position.
Well, he's a good ball player too, and we want to talk about Leandro Mejia, who has got a big arm. He's got a lot of gas. He's got a good breaking ball. He does struggle with his control a little bit sometimes, and so, you know, it's not just about the walks. It's about a lot of 3-ball counts, and so it'll be important for him to get ahead and stay ahead today.
First pitch of the day, up high, speaking control, right up towards the head of the batter, wide of the zone. Looking here at the numbers for Leandro Mejia, under 1 his ERA on the season. Solid sample size as well, 18 innings pitched. This only his second start on the season, though. And you talk about control, even 19 in both the walk and strikeout column on the season.
Yeah, as a rule, you want to definitely have twice as many strikeouts as walks. Having said that, you know, you look at the ERA and you realize how big of an arm this guy's got, how tough he is to hit. If he throws strikes, he's going to be really hard on this Guelph lineup today.
The count now 2-0 after his second ball to Connor Morrow. Mejia will kick and deal. That ball finally finds the inside part of the plate, 2-1.
And there he is showing off that fastball there. He's got the big fastball. He doesn't really need to use a lot of off-speed stuff. Most of the guys in this league can hit the big fastball, but his moves as well. There's the slider that's going to get it out.
That ball belted out pretty good to Ethan Palos, everyday center fielder, makes the catch routinely. And let's take a look now, while we have a moment, at the starting lineup for the Guelph Royals. See what offensive look they have today. Franklin Torres will be the man directly next up here for the Royals, but a couple new faces further down in the lineup after that. Here you see Connor Morrow leading off today, and the number 2 spot, Franklin Torres. Kiner Pena, smaller sample size for him. He'll be up on the batter's circle momentarily. Today's catcher, Garrett Takamatsu. You see Hammond, McLeod, Fenwick, and Patterson will cap us off, but number 5 in the lineup today, a homecoming to Brantford, 14-year Brantford Red Sox veteran, Nick Burdett, back today with the Royals.
Well, yeah, I'm sure this is a bittersweet day for him, having so many memories of playing here in Brantford. He started the season here, and then, for whatever reason, didn't work out, and he moved on. Next thing you know, Guelph has signed him for their playoff run, and he's a great veteran bat for them to pick up late in the year.
First ball in off speed, a little bit too far inside, 1-0. Good speed, misses inside again, 2-0. Hasn't seemed to find that inside part of the plate on the righties quite yet.
Well, he sure looked like he wanted that call. That ball was not far off the plate, but this early in the game, you're just working on establishing a strike zone, both as the pitcher and the umpire.
That ball in right down Main Street, 2-1. Finally starting to find his spot.
So it's a good Guelph batting lineup. They're not maybe a top 3 lineup, but they're still very dangerous. They're missing a couple of key cogs today, the aforementioned Liam Wilson, but they're also missing Andy Leader today, who's away for personal reasons.
Off speed once again, too far inside. Looked like every pitch has hit the same spot horizontally. Some of them are going the way of the batter, some of them for the pitcher.
Yeah, a little bit up too. He wants to just make sure he's finishing a little further out front there to get the ball down at the knees.
3-1, finally gets one off the far side of the plate, hits his spot. 3-2, full count here to Torres.
That's a great spot there on 3-1. He's sitting dead red, inner half of the plate, and he threw him one right on the black outside.
Torres only 32 ABs this year. That one will keep the at-bat alive off towards the parking area at first base. And Torres this season, 3-1, finally gets one off the far side of the plate, hits his spot. 3-2, full count here to Torres. 5
That's a great
RBIs,
spot.
4 walks to 1 strikeout. Torres is going to be a threat today.
Absolutely he is, and so you need to be smart with him. You've got him to 3-2 now. A good location on what will most likely be a fastball here. I would prefer an outside pitch. We'll see where it happens.
Full count pitch, Mejia to Torres. Right down Main Street, luckily fouled off there for Torres. He'll pop that one up over the pagoda here.
When you can see that Savage set up outside, that he was looking fastball out there. He didn't quite locate it pretty well, but located it in a good enough spot where he was only able to foul it off.
Remember, Kiner Pena up on deck. Similarly small sample size for him. Here's the full count pitch. Right down Main Street, that ball popped up towards first. Potential play for Cassidy Watt, but it clears the bullpen, and it'll head into the parking lot. This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat.
He mixed it up a little bit there, threw in the slider. And so now he's set back up for the fastball. It's a good idea. If you can throw that slider for the strike, it slows the bat down, which sets you up to throw that outside fastball once again. If he can dot the I here on the outside corner, he should be able to get an out here.
Big pitch here in only the first inning. Mejia will try the full count again. That time goes the way of the batter. Low in the dirt, first walk of the day. Base and balls for Franklin Torres opens up his day, the 5th for him on the season, again to only 1 strikeout. Important to mention, we talk about how hot this Brantford Red Sox team has been at home. Not a single walk administered by the Red Sox pitchers on Friday. There's one in the first inning.
Yeah, you have to deal with both sides of the Mejia equation, and he will walk some batters, as we well know. He'll take guys deep into counts, but like I said, if he can get ahead and get guys in swing mode, it'll really help himself out.
Next batter up, Kiner Pena. Hitting third today as the catcher. First pitch in, nice pitch to the bottom part of the zone. Almost effortless release to get as much velocity as Mejia does.
That's what we call easy gas. You're right. You're 100% right, Marshall. He doesn't, you don't hear him grunting or yelling or whatever. He just has the ability to just churn out 90 like it was yesterday's news.
Here's the 1-0. That ball popped up in the air over the infield. Watt and Bateman. Bateman will be the one to make the catch. Runner will head back to first, and with that, let's take a quick look here at the Brantford defense. Borderline spotless here through the first part of the inning. Only the walk administered to put a Royal on base. Here's the look today for the lineup on offense. We'll see here in a moment for the Red Sox. It's going to be Black, Tachioka, and Ortega leading us off here. But the defense on the interior, we'll run you through here today. It's going to be Watt, Bateman, Cantor, and Ortega here in the infield. You're more or less used to their defense. And there's the 3 amigos in the outfield. Tachioka, Palos, and Brody Black going to be your 3 covering the wide space out towards the back of the park. And it's going to be, again, Ortega, Cantor, Bateman, and Watt. Today's back catch, once again, Andrew Savage. At the start of the year, it was Watt mostly full-time. Now Savage has taken over that role, and here's Garrett Takamatsu hitting 4th today.
And Takamatsu's a veteran in this league, played with Toronto for a few years as well. And he's a very respected bat. He has struggled with his health over the last couple of years, but when he's right, man, he is a very dangerous hitter.
Here's the 0-1. Ball wide off the plate. Nice snag there by Andrew Savage.
Well, that's one thing we've come to know about Andrew Savage. His lateral movement is really off the charts there. He moves so quick side to side and has a real innate ability to short hop, like a good first baseman, to short hop pitches and catch them, or at the very least block them and stop them from going to the backstop. And he'll get a workout today with me, that's for sure.
The 1-1. Mejia deals. Inside part of the plate. Batter stays out of the way. Takamatsu now up 2-1.
Well, you see Morrow getting an aggressive lead out there at first base. He's got a little case of happy feet, giving the indication that he might go at some point during this at bat. Maybe if Takamatsu, now that he's ahead in the count, they may put some action on this pitch.
They're going to try him there. That's Franklin Torres there out on first base, and he has been on base 21 times this season, has only attempted 3 steals, but looks like he's got a good twitch reflex there on the pickoffs, so going to make it tough here on Mejia. Still 2-1 to Takamatsu.
Guelph will need to be aggressive today. This is a win. They don't need a win, but they sure want to win. Better positioning as we run into the last week of the season.
2-1. Once again, inside part of the plate. Home plate umpire not going to give it to him that far inside. 3-1.
Yeah, that was a little up as well, so he's just working it out here. So with a 3-1 count, probably sitting fastball. He has thrown a slider on this particular occasion, but you got to think fastball, and this is a real hitter's count when you're expecting fastball here with Takamatsu.
Mejia, that one chopped foul by the batter Takamatsu. Full count for the second consecutive batter. One pitch could either put another runner on first and advance Torres, or it could end the first inning.
Good spot there. Got it. The fastball did come, but he got it right on the inside there and didn't allow Takamatsu to extend his arms. And so another good pitch is necessary here. They may go back to the slider here. I don't know if they will or not. I think I probably personally would call a slider here. I'm not sure what they want to do.
On a full count, here's Mejia. Base runner goes, hit and run opportunity, but the ball is sent well off into the first base parking lot line. AB will stay alive, and Torres will head back to first.
Yeah, with a 3-2 count and 2 out, the runner will be going, so the infield will be aware of that. He'll have to throw across the diamond on a ground ball. A good pitch there, just filling up the zone. That's all you can do. Takamatsu is such a tough hitter, that you really got to work on him a bit. And so they have him set up for a slider if he can throw it for a strike.
Takamatsu's not grounded into a double play all year, and not much of a ground ball threat either. We'll see if he puts this one in the air. Runner goes again. That one is up in the air. Gap between left and center. Tachioka can't range out. Ball comes down, and the base runner on the hit and run all the way around to third. Ball gets wide again, but Torres caught in no man's land. He will head back to third, but that will be a stand-up single for Garrett Takamatsu.
Well, he tried to go inside with the fastball, but a good swing there. He got the barrel of the bat on the ball and lifted it up over the shortstop's head and out, dumped it into left field for a good single. Because it was 3-2 and 2 out, the runner was going, and an easy trip to third for Connor Morrow. And a real good play for you young ball players that are watching there. A really good play by Cassidy Watt, the first baseman. A lot of times first baseman will just be kind of brain dead, standing around watching that play go on. But Cassidy Watt got himself behind second base to back up the throw. Because he did that, he saved his team a run.
First pitch in there. Mejia starts this AB off with a strike, I believe the first time today. And, well, it doesn't need to be high school for there to be a homecoming. Welcome back, Nick Burdett, to the Brantford Red Sox home ballpark. And awesome to see back here. Weird to see him wearing blue, but still wearing his 35. And he's got runners on the corners. Could do something here in his first inning of work. Check swing there.
That. Ooh, that was close. Oh, the fans sure thought Nick went around there, that's for sure. And I think the dugout did as well. That was a real close play for the third base umpire in the middle of the infield. It would have been a lot easier call if he were over on the baseline without runners on, but being out in the middle is a much tougher call.
Again, 14-year veteran with the Brantford Red Sox, now playing for the Royals. 1-1, swing and a miss there. Just missed the tip of the bat. Count now 1-2. Mejia looking for his first strikeout of the day. We talk about how, again, red hot this team has been, this entire last 3 games. 3 games in a row winning at home here for the Brantford Red Sox, and those are all since their elimination from the playoffs last Friday. But a lot of that has been their offense. Sometimes early runs on defense have been an issue. As Burdett barrels that one up into the air. Should be within the range of the shortstop or left fielder. It's going to be Tachioka that comes down with it and caps off the first inning. No runs allowed, but 2 runners on base. The Brantford Red Sox get away with 1. And like I was starting to allude there, Brian, 10 runs, and 15 runs in Brantford's last 3, appearances at home. Of course, Friday was that huge blowout game, 15-0 over the Barrie Baycats. But the 2 games prior, they allowed 8, and I believe they allowed 4. So Brantford will allow quite a few at the beginning, but the relief pitching arms have done better to kind of shore up the gap in the middle of ball games. That's why they've been so good at home.
Well, I think what's going on here is that people are starting to realize that Brantford is not as far away as people thought they were from being a competitive team. Frankly, they've been battling some injuries. I was talking to owner Terry Smith today, and he was lamenting the fact that they have had, I think he said 6 different pitchers get injured this year. Kepler's out right now. Armitage has missed some time. Arbach has missed some time. I think he's back healthy now for the first time in a while. So today is the first time that he's had 5 or 6 pitchers available to him in a game. They were real short. De La Cruz was a little sore as well. So they're getting healthier on the mound. And, of course, the batting order. The other thing, too, that I've noticed is that since Terry Smith has taken over this team on a full-time basis, you're starting to see some real continuity, and that's a word that we have used several times this year. And so you're seeing consistency on defense. This particular defense that we're seeing here today is one that we have seen by and large for the last 5 or 6 games, something like that. And so, obviously your 3 amigos in the outfield, but even more importantly, the 2 corner guys, Watt and Ortega, Savage settling in full-time behind, and, of course, the middle infield of Bateman and Cantor. There's been a couple other guys that have filled in there, but the rest of the defense has been pretty consistent. And so I think that's very important, not just from a talent standpoint, but from, again, a continuity standpoint. I believe that you play better team defense when you are familiar with those who are playing beside you. Range, where we're throwing it, the manner in which we throw it, the middle infield, does he usually throw it underhand? Does he turn his feet out? Does he do an outside turn? Does he do a power feed? And, you start getting that familiarity, and it is so important on defense from a team defense standpoint. You can have 8 really talented guys on defense, but they're still going to be way better when you get that kind of teamwork going on.
Quick discussion happening out towards third base here. Owner Terry Smith and today's assigned manager for the Brantford Red Sox was out to talk to a couple reps for the Royals. I think some concern about some of the grass conditioning out there, right on the edge between the dirt and the grass, a bit of a spot there that's usually been a hot button issue this year at second, not so much at shortstop.
Well, the field by and large has been in great shape considering we've seen, about as much rain as the Sahara Desert this summer. We all know about that one semi-magical spot. The spot, we just put that in air quotes. So I guess there's just a little concern now about the current condition of the lip of the grass there right in front of third baseman Takamatsu. And, we get that problem sometimes. Couch gets that problem sometimes where that lip right on the edge of the third base grass there. Couch is a very good diamond to play infield on, except for that one lip. Like you feel like it needed to be rolled. But, again, when it's hard as cement over there, you can't roll something that is, harder than your driveway.
So leading off today for the Brantford Red Sox, the first batter to face today's Royals pitcher, Andrew Case. It's going to be Brody Black, the right fielder, back at the top of the lineup. First pitch right down Main Street. Black's behind 0-1 here.
But yeah, it's interesting to see Andrew Case. Only with three innings pitched this season. He's not a rookie. He's been around a few years. He's been with them before. But what is quite often the case in Guelph, they start with one kind of roster in May and June and have an entirely different one in late July and early August.
A ball in down the middle, but a little bit too low. 2-1 count here. The top 3 today is going to be Brody Black, Ren Tachioka, and Chris Ortega. The 2-1, that ball barreled out foul towards the first base line. Right fielder might have a chance at it. Gets down just in front of his range, and he stops in time for the fence. Close moment there for right fielder today. That's Anderson Fenwick for the Royals.
And that was a tough play there. That's one of those ones where you have to sell out to it, but that's a tough way to stop that fence there, especially if you hit one of the posts. So a good effort to get close to it, but it was a real tough play. And so, yeah, we've got Brody Black batting leadoff now. He's been really, really, really hot lately in the last 3 or 4 games. And so, you hate moving Tachioka, excuse me, out of that leadoff spot, but the way that Brody Black's been hitting, get somebody on in front of Tachioka and, get some plays on, because the one guy on this team that runs almost as well as Tachioka is Brody Black.
Absolutely right. Full count. Case, that one barreled out towards third. Quick hopper off the ground. Takamatsu will play it. He'll get it there in time. Nice play by number 4 for the Royals to get that one to first with some urgency. Let's take a look at the rest of the Brantford Red Sox offensive starting lineup for today as we see one of the contenders in the batting title race. We'll talk plenty about that today. Ren Tachioka now up at the plate. Chris Ortega going to be hitting third today, and he already has 2 home runs in back-to-back games this weekend. He's been on fire with the long ball. Cassidy Watt, Andrew Savage, the next two are 2 catchers on the season. One's playing first today. Then it's Paulos in the 6th spot. Bateman, Cantor, and Graham Tevitt will have his second start on offense of the weekend. He'll be starting in the 9 hole today. First pitch right down the middle of the zone for Tachioka, and here's a storyline for you. No longer the leader in the batting title race this season. 3 points behind Morrison. To my count, he is 0 for 10 on hits this weekend so far.
Yeah, that's everybody goes through slumps in every league, in every level of baseball. You get into one of those yellow light situations.
And that ball sent out towards left field. Blooper will come down to the fielder. Nice play there by Ethan Hammond to not overtrack it. And the slump will continue. Still no hits through 11 at-bats so far this year for Tachioka. And let's take a look at the defense here for Guelph, as Hammond and Fenwick have already made nice plays, or Fenwick at least came very close out there in right field. Here's the defense for the Guelph Royals. It'll be Hammond and Ashton Patterson left and center respectively. And, of course, Anderson Fenwick out there in right. And then a kind of veteran infield here. We talked about Nick Burdett starting at first today. Garrett Takamatsu at third. First pitch, Chris Ortega looks at a strike, and it's Connor Morrow and Franklin Torres right down the middle with today's back catch, Mr. Pina. That is Kiner Pina, who, again, small sample size, hasn't spent too many games as the back catch for the Royals this year.
So, yeah, having missed a couple of players with Liam Wilson injured, you got Nick Burnett out at first base in place of Liam Wilson. Now, Andy Leader is a guy who is normally a center fielder, but they love Patterson out there, I know, and so Leader has moved over into right field, played couple of corner infielders as well.
Ball bounced to the third baseman. Takamatsu, another chance and a throw to first, and another laser to Burdett. Great start there defensively for the Royals, looking comfortable, looking patient, and we always talk about that's something the elite teams do. I know the record for the Royals is working its way up, and solid defending is a good start. And again, you've talked a lot about Wilson's success on first, Leader as well. If those guys are all in full strength going into the playoffs, this Royals team is going to look pretty good on defense.
Yeah, it sure is, and you know, their pitching has always been their strength, whether they're using Means or Claudio, whoever they're using over the past few years. They've got a lot of good pitchers there, and their starting pitching is among the best in the IBL. And so when they play good defense to go with that really good starting pitching, manager Dino Ramel has a lot of weapons at his disposal and a good batting lineup as well. And Guelph is one of those teams that doesn't, I guess nondescript is a word that wouldn't be terrible. They just don't seem to make a lot of noise during the regular season, but
right.
They're a team that not many teams want to play in the playoffs. You know, their playoff time at Hastings is always really tough, and then when you add into that the additions of Burdett and Wilson and Leader, and of course the most recent addition, IBL legend Damon Toppoli, who is just right on the cusp of getting his 500th IBL RBI. He got a couple there. I think he's at 499 right now. I've been a little bit busy the last couple of days. If he got it in the last 2 days, I don't know. I apologize. And Damon's. You mentioned the history I have with this club, and I do for several different reasons, and a lot of it has to do with the umpiring that I used to do. Fans of this broadcast will have heard me tell the story about the time I threw Dino Ramel out of a game in St. Thomas. But also Damon Toppoli, who is pushing 50 now, but my relationship with him goes back far enough that I was standing behind him in Stratford when he was playing junior ball, when he was all of, I think, 18. So we're going back 30 years now, when he had just arrived in Stratford to be a catcher for the junior program, and I was doing the plate, and that's where I got to meet him. And in a small world concept, his sister married one of my best friends, and they now live in Windsor or Amherstburg, somewhere near Windsor anyways, and so big baseball family. So I don't see Top around. I sure hope I get a chance to run into him if he's here.
Here's Ethan Hammond leading off the top of the second inning. First pitch in, low side for a strike. Mejia back on the mound.
And of course, one great tradition with the Guelph Royals is their bench coach, Paul Anda, who always throws the BP, and he's one of the most popular guys around this league. He's been around for ever and ever and ever. He's just a class guy.
Up ball wide off the plate. Going to even up the count at 1-1. And to confirm the number there for you, Damon Topley did hit his 499th RBI 5 days ago. I don't know if he said he was potentially active in the lineup today, but if we were to see him, he'd have a chance at 500.
I didn't see him pregame when I was down there trying to get caught up with some guys.
That ball struck out well towards right field. Black ranging under it. Gets there in time. Nice routine play made out by the right fielder, Brody Black, as he always tends to do. He makes the flashy ones look manageable, and he makes the easy ones look like a breeze.
Well, the one thing about this Brantford team is you don't have too many concerns about balls that get hit into the outfield because of the quality that they have out there. They aren't just good offensive players. They all run well. They all hit well. They all field well. They all have strong arms. And it really doesn't matter where you send the ball in the outfield. Brantford is well represented, regardless.
No weak spots, that is for sure. First ball in a little bit high. First pitch given to Jeff McLeod, today's 7-hitter for the Royals, designated hitter. Looking a little bit at McLeod's numbers towards the bottom in terms of batting average. .222, only 9 at-bats this year, so small sample size. 1 walk to 3 strikeouts, no RBIs as of yet. That ball popped up in the air over the infield. It's going to be Savage ranging out. Takes off the mask, loses the hat, grabs the ball. What a play there by Andrew Savage. And I know he's a guy that we've really fallen in love with. He started off hot on offense, but his defense has really come in over the course of the year.
Well, he's the new generation of catcher. Back in my day, the catcher kind of, was a thick, squatted guy who was really strong, had a great arm, called a great game, could block everything. But the newer version, the Real Muto kind of concept to athleticism at the catching position allows for catchers to go make plays like that are 40, 50 feet away from the plate on short little pop-ups. And so that's really been the biggest change in the position, other than the manner of receiving pitches, is that the catchers now are so much more athletic than they used to be.
Up all wide there by Mejia. That's now Anderson Fenwick, the right fielder, hitting 8th today.
Should be mentioned too, Mejia, like I say, we've talked enough about his control problems, but that pitch to get the out on McLeod was very good. It got his bat slowed down and popped him up on the slider.
Mejia, that one fouled off. This now going to make it a 2-1 count in the at-bat. Open it up with 2 straight balls. Now back in on Fenwick, and really, so far, Mejia, always a guy who's a threat for the strikes. You've talked about his hard-to-hit stuff, but his lack of control so far hasn't been in too many strikeout situations. We'll see what we see here. 2-1. That one sent right off to the same area, just over the third base grandstand. Now even 2-2 on the foul ball. Ashton Patterson, the final batter for the Royals, lineup in the batter's circle.
Well, looks like he's filling it up this inning. He looks very comfortable. Mejia does this inning. And like I say, when he throws strikes, boy, he is a tough customer. Ooh.
Wow. Ooh. Mejia was walking off. He thought that was the one. Home plate umpire disagreed, and he's going to make him earn for it. Full count for the 4th time today. A strike would end the inning.
I think it just broke a little bit late. He wanted that high slider, but it just came in above the belt.
Full count, Mejia to Fenwick. Right down the middle, swing and strikeout. Now Mejia can walk off to the dugout. First K of the day, retires the side for the Guelph Royals, and so far they've seemed to at least make the at-bats competitive, but neither side today really any real chance at a run on the board.
That was a great pitch there. That's kind of what I was thinking he might set him up for, is the inside fastball. Really good job spotting that fastball. He throws so hard. There it is right there, just a little bit of a moving pitch. Got the foul tip, went right into the glove. Good job by Savage to squeeze it. He clearly was working on the tip drill before the game. I'm joking about that. The catchers don't actually work on the tip drill on foul tips.
Well, thank you to our volunteers for getting those awesome shots today on the replay. Thank you to the entire Rogers TV crew for making it out today for an awesome day of IBL baseball. It's a hot one, I'll tell you that, Brian. It's another toasty one. We missed you on Friday. It was just myself calling that game against Barrie. Night game, nice and cool. It was actually a little bit chilly. It was very different, and I'm sad you had to miss that big night of offense, because we were talking about last week. It had been so long since we'd seen much success from the Red Sox offense at all, and then we had those 2 good games last weekend. I thought, all right, that lost to Welland. Brantford loses to Welland at Welland on Thursday, 10-0. It felt like, all right, maybe it's gone. And then an explosion again Friday, 15-0 win over Barrie. We're back. And then last night against Chatham-Kent, who typically we play very well, back to a 19-4 ball game. My big picture question as we get ready for the second inning of offense from the Red Sox is, how much is the home versus away, maybe putting out your best lineup, maybe putting on your best performance, is that a real thing, especially once you're out of playoff contention and you want to put something in front of the home fans? Because that's my theory.
Well, it's interesting you mention that, because that was part of the conversation with the new owner, Terry Smith, and the fact that he was happy to have some more pitchers available to him today, because we were talking about that too. When you're not in need of road wins, i.e. you're already eliminated from playoff competition, you really want to make sure you put on a good show at home. And so I also think that there's a little bit, and I don't want to make too much about this, but I watched the Barrie game on the stream there, and they didn't exactly throw a Benitez or a Garces.
No.
They threw a guy who doesn't have real good numbers, and we've seen some of that before. And so there is a rule. One thing that's very similar between senior baseball and senior hockey is that you tend to get your A lineup at home in front of your home fans.
That ball sent out towards third base. Takamatsu, another play in the glove. That one off the bat of Cassidy Watt, who is retired there on his third pitch of the at-bat. Watt, who's had great plate discipline this week, had 3 walks in that game against the Barrie Baycats, now his new season high, but he's retired in the early stages of this one, as the rest of the lineup have. Up comes Andrew Savage, hitting in the 5 spot.
Yeah, I tell you, for all the conversation about that issue on the grass right in front of Takamatsu, he's had 3 ground balls already out of the first 4 or 5 hitters. And so he's clearly managing it well. That's what we call a drop step, where he was going to get caught with an in-between hop there, and he dropped that arm side, foot back, got his face behind his glove. Catch it with your face. That's the old line we used to use.
Savage belts that one out towards center. Back to play it is Patterson. Gets under it easily. 2 quick outs to start off this inning, and Case has gotten to this point in the ball game through only 16 pitches.
Well, Case has had success in this league before, and he can throw strikes and he can do well. I don't know the circumstances of why he's only got 3 innings in. But you can bet that they're trying to get him some time in today to make sure he qualifies for playoffs.
Next is Ethan Palos, who looks at a strike right down the middle. Palos recovered from injury a couple weeks back, and in his 3 weeks since he's returned to the team, he has been on fire with the glove and has looked like he never left on defense.
Well, the other nice thing about having Palos back in, people who've been watching the Red Sox all year know that he spent the first half of the season in either the 1 or the 2 hole.
That one low in the dirt, going to make it 2-1.
But now that they've got Black and Tachioka and Ortega and Watt kind of locked in the top 4 there, what Paulus does then, he lengthens your lineup so that you've got, in the 6 hole.
That ball sent right past the infield. First hit of the day for a Red Sox hitter. Palos was hot. He stays hot. Single out to left field, puts him on base. First base runner today for the home side.
Well, I have to thank Ethan for illustrating my point. When you got a 6-hitter like that who can hit over 300, it really does a lot to lengthen your lineup, and we've had that conversation before too. Look at that, stays back, hits the ball where he's pitched. The ball was up a little bit, and he just lined it into left field there. Just a nice piece of hitting by a very veteran hitter.
Up next, Lucas Bateman. That ball far side of the plate, and it looks like the home plate umpire giving more to the far side on righties than he is the close side of the plate.
Well, he seemed to give a little bit there. There was you could tell by the reaction of the hitter, Bateman.
That ball chopped foul. Out of play for Takamatsu. And speaking of guys, like you said, that have been at the top of the lineup at some point this season offensively, Bateman hitting in the 7th today, but at the start of the year, he was our leadoff hitter most of the year. So kind of a second leadoff start to the lineup in the 6-7 today. It's like there's 2 mini lineups in the Brantford side.
Right, and he can run, he can steal bases, just like the top of the order does.
Here's the 0-2. That ball going to be chopped down. Bateman tries to grab it with the bat. The AB will stay alive, and Powell's will stay on first.
Yeah, he fouled that one off his foot there. You could tell. I don't know if the plate umpire picked up on that. The first base umpire did, though. So no harm, no foul. And, you know, this is a situation here where you've got a good runner on first base, 2 outs and 2 strikes. This is one of my favorite times to send a runner. If he gets thrown out, then the guy at the plate gets his count reset. If you happen to put the ball in play, then he'll go all the way to third.
That ball wide off the far side. Starts to get the count back in Bateman's favor. 1-2. 1 strike from Case would end the bottom of the second. Jacob Cantor is on deck, should he be needed. Kicks and deals. Right down the middle, but misses it up high. Bateman sat down on strikes. Case's first strikeout of the day. And that'll bring the bottom of the second inning to a close here for IBL Baseball in Brantford. The Guelph Royals tie at 0, scoreless through the first 2 innings. The only head on the board going the way of the Royals, but evening it up was Palos a moment ago. We'll come back from break in just a few moments here on IBL Brantford Red Sox Rogers TV coverage. As the first pitch hits the mitt of the third inning. Welcome back to IBL Brantford Red Sox Baseball as the visiting Guelph Royals currently tied at 0 with the home side. Leandro Mejia back on the mound, facing off against Ashton Patterson, the final batter of the day for the Royals lineup. Finds himself up 2-0 early.
Yeah, and this is the guy that you want to get. We talk about this all the time. When you get down to the bottom of the order, you really want to make sure that you take care of the bottom of the order and have the top of the order come up with nobody on base. So important to throw strikes to this young man.
Here's the 2-0. Far side of the plate, just not getting it today. It's really the left of the home plate umpire on both sides, regardless of batter.
Well, that one may have been a bit up too. That didn't help the matter, but now you're 3-0 to the 9-hitter, and those are the kind of ABs that give a manager gray hair.
The 3-0 to Patterson. That one too low, and Patterson knew it right away. Second walk of the game for Mejia, and to give you a recap, his first time through the lineup, 2 walks today, 3 flyouts. He's given a lot of stuff up in the air, is my big takeaway. Connor Morrow now up next to bat for the Guelph Royals. In just a moment, we're going to elaborate a little bit on our storyline we're talking about today with the batting title. Tachioka, again, starting off today without a hit. I don't believe today there's a ball game with Chatham. Can't you see here now on screen? Evan Morrison and Ren Tachioka. That is the final stretch for the title race for the batting title here. And a couple weeks ago, you saw it there, 415 to 418. Morrison now the one leading for Chatham Kent. It was 2 games ago. Tachioka was at 438. It's crazy how quick a slump can just drop that total.
Yeah, unlike the major leagues, when you're dealing with a 162 game schedule, you can go on an over 10 slump, you know, in August after you've had 400, 450 at bats, and your average will only move a few points. But, you know, when you've only got 130, 140 at bats, then, you know, an over 10 slump can move you 30 points. Because there was at one point less than 2 weeks ago where Tachioka had at least a 35-point lead on, you know, he was lapping the field. But, you know, I know Evan Morrison. I know him from his junior career in Waterloo with the U22s there, and University of Waterloo and some American college as well. This kid is from my neck of the woods, from beautiful downtown Mitchell, population of not many, about 10,000 or less, and that, you know, per capita is one of the best baseball player producing towns in Ontario. To be honest with you, they've got a few real stud players come out of Mitchell. The Murray twins, Josh French, 2 guys that you're going to hear about real soon.
Oro barrels that one just out of the reach of Chris Ortega at third. Ball comes down to Tachioka, and the Tachioka throw back in so quick that it'll hold the runners at first and second, but on base with a single. Connor Morrow putting 2 on, no outs for Franklin Torres, who walked in the first.
Well, and that's the first ball we've seen really barreled up there on Mejia. He kind of hung that one out in a spot he didn't want to put it. So, and you can see here where we want the ball outside, and yet he came with it and just kind of hung it right at the belt there, and he ripped it into left field. So when you're throwing that slider, when it drops right in the bucket like that, that's usually what gives a pitcher a sore neck, to be honest.
We were talking a moment ago there about the batting average. It's one of those things that's it's kind of like a credit score. It's hard to build and it's easy to lose. And for context, that one's belted right past that same spot in the infield. Base runner gets the stop sign at third, so that'll load the bases. Franklin Torres, first pitch he sees, singles to that same spot in left.
Well, a similar problem to the previous at bat, just putting the ball in a spot where you shouldn't. And, you know, these guys are especially the top of the order guys. And now, you know, illustrating the importance of getting that number 9 hitter. You walk him on 4 pitches, you give up back-to-back singles to the top of the order. And now instead of 1 out and, you know, first and second in a manageable situation, you've got bases loaded and nobody out. So what the infield defense will likely be, and I think they've already set it up now, the corners will be in. Ground ball, they want to come home and get the out at the plate. Up the middle, they'll take a double play and give up the run.
Here's Kiner Pena up today. Again, first pitch. Barreled by a batter out towards Black. Great job to range for it. The throw back in as the runner from third tags up, trots in, and Bateman does a diving roll to keep the ball in front of him. First run of the day for the Guelph Royals off the sac fly to right from Kiner Pena.
Well, and a good professional hitter's job done by an experienced batter there, Takamatsu, who hit Pena, who hasn't been around here, but he's not, you know, it's not like he's a 21-year-old coming up here and playing. He saw a pitch up and out over the plate, drove the ball into the outfield and produced the run. So a nice piece of hitting. The good news for Guelph, too, is that he hit it where it was pitched and got the fly ball out into right field, which allowed the runner on second, I believe Connor Morrow, to move up a third. So now they still have a runner on third with less than 2 out, and they'd love to cash him in here. You got to get those crooked numbers, especially with Takamatsu up.
Runners now in the corners. Here's Garrett Takamatsu. Runner thought about going there on first. Great little slider there from Mejia, who's really got to get the momentum working back in his direction.
Yeah, he's just got to start, you know, control problems are not just about throwing non-strikes or uncompetitive pitches. Sometimes control problems can cause you to throw balls right down the middle, which is, frankly, a worse thing to happen.
Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Identical pitch, identical swing, same result. Now down 0-2.
Well, that's a nasty slider he's got there, and when he can locate it in what we call a strike-to-ball situation where it comes in on the outside of the plate, and then the slider is a late-breaking, hard, sharp-breaking curveball, and that really helps out drawing the batter into a swing on a non-competitive pitch.
Last thing you want if you're Takamatsu is to ground into a double play here. Runner thought about going again. That one is sent. Speak of the devil for 1. 4-2, gets it there in time. The reverse commentator's jinx will keep the Red Sox lead, or deficit, I should say, to only 1, but the Royals get one through. Ashton Patterson in with a run after walking to start the second.
Well, and you could see there that they were using that slider to try and get a ground ball out of Takamatsu, who, like I said, he's had some injury problems in the past. He doesn't run like he used to. Gets that outside slider, gets him to what we call roll over on it, went straight to the shortstop. Nice pick there, and a nice turn by Bateman, using his momentum to come to the third base side of second base to clear his angle so that he doesn't have to throw through the runner. Turns and gets a nice, strong, accurate throw over to first base and just beats Takamatsu by a half a step.
So now in the middle of the third, up to 1 run for the Royals. That's all that's on the board today so far in the run column. And really what has made these games so high scoring at home for the Red Sox has been their early production. It was something that I talked about with Cassidy Watt on this week's episode of the Brantford Red Sox Report. And he was talking about how those night games, something about the air in the later innings of those night games, the ball just doesn't carry the way it was. He talks about the players in the at the park here in Brantford say, you got to hit your home runs in the first 5 innings or you're done for the night. And that same effect we haven't so much seen here in these afternoon games. It's just the power never seems to be here for either side, and a lot of that, for those of you that might be new to Red Sox baseball here at Arnold Anderson, left field is not very palatable for hitters. You have a very high fence out towards the big maple tree out in the left. The fence ranges out, but by the time you get out to the center field area where you could hit as a righty, you're out to 400 feet, and not many lefties here on this side for the Red Sox. I don't believe the Royals are absolutely swimming in them either, so we're going to see if we see the long ball today, but that's what often creates the small ball games that if you get a lot of runners on base, one swing can open it up early, but once the power shuts down late, that's why the runs don't seem to tack on later. We'll see if we see that again today.
Well, I agree with that assessment wholeheartedly. I think about my home park of Stratford. Anybody who's ever been to the stadium in Stratford knows it is cavernous in left field, out well over 400 feet. They've just moved the fences inside 400 feet, especially out in left center. But along the right field line, down the first base line, it is 288, albeit to a 20-foot fence. And so it's a similar thing here where most of the power for the Brantford Red Sox is from the right side of the plate. You know, when we go forward,
Jacob Cantor, that one fouled off. The shortstop will be hitting in the 8 spot today.
When we recruit players in, we always look for lefties. We want lefty pitchers to get guys to hit the ball out to left field where there's a lot of room for the ball to land. And when we look for hitters, we look for left-handed hitters because they are all a threat to hit one at least off the wall. And that makes it a lot easier to get runs in when you're knocking balls off the wall all day long.
Andrew Case back on the mound here for the Guelph Royals after starting off today's ball game. Puts that one right down the middle. Makes it 0-2 to Brody Black. Or pardon me, Jacob Cantor.
So it's not the same, but it is a similar situation here. So, hopefully in the offseason.
That ball sent out towards first. Ranging forward, it's Burdett to throw it back to Case, who steps on the bag. First out of the inning. Again, textbook fielding from the Brantford infield, including pitcher Andrew Case.
Yep, good job getting over there by Case. He recognized, and that's for all you young pitchers out there. Anything, when you release the ball, anything hit to your left on the ground, you should be busting it over to first base, just in case you're going to be needed to cover the bag. So just to finish my thought there, it's a similar situation here. So I'd really like to see Brantford go on the hunt for a left-handed power hitter in the offseason, and anybody else they could bring in for, what I like to call rabbits, guys that are high average guys, Tachioka, Black, Bateman, Paulus. They got a few of them already. There are never too many of those guys around, that's for sure.
Graham Tebbett sends that one out towards the shortstop spot, but well gloved, well thrown, textbook play, and again, plays seem to start off. Bouncing balls put on the ground here by the Red Sox. These plays seem to end as quickly as they begin.
Good job by Andrew Case, starting guys off with strikes. He hasn't thrown a lot of balls, so he's attacking the zone, getting the Brantford hitters into swing mode, getting ahead of them, and then forcing them to hit his pitch.
Now here is Brody Black up for the second time today. First pitch he sees, lets it go by to stop this momentum for Case, and just barely checks up in time. It was a strike down the middle.
And again, he starts a Brantford batter off with a strike.
Tries for another one, gets another one. Swing and a miss by Black. Case dealing here in the third inning. Talk about Brody Black. He's probably got it harder than anybody with the field dimensions here at Arnold Anderson out there in right. 0-2. Speaking of, puts that one foul out towards right field, keeps the at-bat alive. But if I had to describe it for those of you that can't see our right field today at Arnold Anderson, it's like trying to defend a raindrop in a Walmart parking lot sometimes. He's got a lot of ground to cover, and he's a quick, athletic guy that can do so, but very thankless job on defense. Case wide off the plate. First time he's missed in a while. 1-2 to Black.
That was a top 3 analogy, man. That was awesome.
1-2, 2 outs in the inning. One pitch could end it. And Case, talk about again pitch count. He has been efficient today. Inside part of the plate. Good job by Black to not go around. He got the count back to 2-2.
He's not just another pretty face, folks. He waxes eloquent when needed.
See my face every week on Brantford Red Sox Report. Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern here on Rogers TV. That one fouled off once again. Black will now see the 6th pitch of the at-bat. Keeping an update across town at that Chatham-Kent game. Chatham-Kent is at home against Toronto. Evan Morrison did have a ground out too short to start off his day, just to keep you updated on that batting title race. That ball once again fouled off down the first base line. He's trying to give a souvenir to our first base cameraman, Sebastian, but no luck as of yet. Count still 2-2.
That was just a check swing there. You know, a defensive swing with 2 strikes on you. Nice job there. Good spoil. And a nice extended at bat for Black here.
Case kicks and deals. That one sent right back at him. Bounces off the glove. Won't grab it. Brody Black on base with a single. And Case, quick slap of the glove. The body language not happy. He wants that one back. Yeah, he thought he should have had that one. That's a tough play. It looked like he got a very small piece of it. But a really, really good at bat there by Brody Black. Was that 8 pitches? I lost count there, to be honest with you. Fouled 3 or 4 pitches off to that side and then got one that was a little more palatable and hit it hard up the middle. Got it past the pitcher, and that usually means a base hit for Brody Black. Back up here is Ren Tachioka. Shows bunt, drops it, and the ball too high. It will go for ball 1. If you're new to Brantford Red Sox IBL Baseball, you've never seen Tachioka play. He loves to show bunts and then fake into hits, but he can lay a ball down with a bunt better than anybody. That one struck out towards center. Can it come down in time? No, it can't. Once again, sent off to center field. That's Ashton Patterson, and Tachioka taking a moment. You got to think, again, he's putting balls in play. They're always competitive. He's making the defense work, but when you know you're in a race for the batting title, it's those at-bats that are going to be a what-if if he doesn't get it at the end of the year. Well, that's just unlucky. When you're in a slump, it isn't always because you're not hitting the ball well. He hit 2 balls hard today, hit a line drive right at the left fielder, and then he hit a line drive right at the center fielder. Everything around the middle of the plate, he rakes. And, you know, sometimes when things aren't going your way, when things are going your way, you'll hit something 100 feet in the air, it'll drop between 3 outfielders. And then when things aren't going right for you, just like Tachioka had happened to him today, he's hit 2 ropes, both directly at outfielders. If either one of those is not directly at an outfielder, it is certainly a hit. So, you know, that's the problem when you're hitting 4 hits out of every 10 at-bats, is that eventually the laws of probability will take over, and that's the humbling part of baseball. Keep in mind, as I have said many times, you know, you look at the major leagues. When you have a guy who for his career fails 7 times out of 10, you know what they do with him? They put him in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, it's a great point. So at the end of the day, the ability to hit 400, there's a reason nobody's hit 400 in almost, 85 years in the major leagues, is because you have to consistently go 2 for 5. Every hard hit ball pretty much has to land in. And like I said, that's just a tough situation for Ren, where we have seen those balls drop all season long, but now when he really needs it to try and win a batting title, they're all going right at outfielders. So, but it's early. He's had 2 at-bats in 3 innings. He'd probably get at least 2 more at-bats, and he can certainly get hits each of his next 2 at-bats, and suddenly he's 2 for 4, and his average goes up for the day. So, I mean, it's a great point you make about the batting average point. You compare it across sports. If a goalie's save percentage is something around 300, then you've been out of the league a long time. And if your percentage as a thrower, as a quarterback in the NFL is that low, then you probably play for the New York Jets. Oh, I was going to say the Giants, but it's your point's well made. Insert team here. I'm just a Bills fan. Had to go after the division rival. Nick Burnett up to bat for the 2nd time today, leading off the 4th. ball pops up in the air, just as he did back in the first inning. Ranging forward is Black, gets under it. I think he lost it briefly in the light for just a moment, finds it again. Nice catch.
Well, good hustle by Black there. That could have certainly been made by Bateman, but one thing that we always know is it's easier to come in on a ball than to go back on it. And, that ball was only 10, 12 feet behind the infield. Bateman could have walked over and got underneath there, but again, he had to go back up on it, and it's just a little easier play. So if the right fielder, who does take priority on any ball, the outfielder will always call off an infielder if he can get to it, because he's coming in on the ball, just a little easier to make that kind of a catch.
So Mejia's still out there. 1 strikeout on the day. Puts that one well wide off the plate. He's not going to get another one like that. This now up Ethan Hammond for the second time today. He flew out as well back in the second.
Well, I really like what I'm seeing from Mejia today. He's pitching to contact, and that is something that I preach to my pitchers all the time. Is we've often had the conversation about strikeouts. They're kind of cool, but really they're just boring to watch. And it's better for everybody on your team to get soft contact, because you get your defense moving. Nobody's feet are sitting in quicksand. They're always moving. They're always on the move. They're mentally sharper. They're physically sharper.
2-0 finally gets one off that wide part of the plate. That's the side pitchers have been struggling with so far on home plate. 2-1.
And there's a good example of the live arm that is Mejia. That ball started about 2/3 out of the plate and then just caught the Black on the way by as it was tailing away from the left-handed hitter.
That ball up high. Count now 3-1. That was the 57th pitch thrown today by Mejia, and his ratio is 33 strikes to 25 balls. Squares himself up on 3-1. The pitch. That one barreled right back at him. Misses it with the glove. Second pitcher today to do so, and it rolls gingerly out to Palos. Stand-up single for Ethan Hammond.
He nearly caught that one with his teeth, to be honest with you. That was a scary one. That went right by his head.
Watch the replay here.
He almost got Charlie Browned on that one.
I love that term. I'd never heard that before until I called the game with you, and now I'm going to start hearing it everywhere.
Well, you know what? It's a tough situation. That's why part of the mechanics of pitching is your follow through, that you are facing your square to the plate so that you're prepared to make a defensive play.
Here's Jeff McLeod now has a runner in front of him. That ball wide. Well, interesting there. Both the catcher and batter leaned over to the left, and then the pitch looked right down the middle there. So it might just be a perspective thing for the umpire on that one.
Well, I sure wanted that one, but I think that's the old curved around the plate line that you might get from the plate ump on that one.
Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss there from Jeff McLeod. Evens it up 1-1. Something we always talk about when it comes to catchers and the job at the plate, obviously blocking, obviously trying back picks, the throw to second. But interesting is always to mention framing and pitcher framing, and how, depending on the umpire, it is just as much the catcher's job to get a strike as the pitcher's.
Well, 100% on that agreement.
Ball chopped up back towards Mejia. Chance at a double as the ball bobbles. Oh, my goodness. You will nary have worse luck on a bouncing ball than that one. Mejia down in some discomfort. We always talk about the field condition out there. That weird divot. Balls tend to hit heading to second. The trainer's out here to check on the starter, Mejia, as he finally gets back up. A runner safe on first.
Well, we'll need to have another look at that one, but it just it bounced over his head there, and I'm not sure if he tried to change direction when he saw he was maybe going to collide with Bateman.
Right.
Or whether he stepped in a little divot there. We'll have to have another look at it here, because the ball goes over his head, and then he failed to get it, and then
I think it's that left leg he tries to plant as he's trying to find his footing after losing the ball, and he kind of kicks it into himself, maybe an ankle thing there.
Yeah, it almost like he hyperextended it, like his knee, and that seems to be what he's working on right now.
An arm now up in the bullpen. Not sure if they were there prior to this moment or not, but we'll keep an eye if we see a backup pitcher coming in for the Red Sox to relieve Mejia. Looks like he is going to stay on the mound. Now Anderson Fenwick up next in the order. The only batter today struck out by Mejia, so at least he's getting somebody he's gotten to previous.
Well, I think it was his left leg, which is his plant leg, and he'll feel that right away when he comes to the plate. So we'll keep an eye on his mechanics to see if he's laboring at all.
First pitch in there low. Ball 1 on Fenwick, and it's Hammond on second, McLeod on first.
So as I mentioned, that was unfortunate there because he made a good pitch. He got soft contact, but it just bounced over top of him. I'm not sure there was ever a double play there, but he certainly could have got the play at first, which would have made 2 outs.
Once again, ball in the dirt. Mejia having trouble finding a spot once again. Still a little bit of visible discomfort with the lower leg.
Yeah, he's just shaking that leg out, that left leg out still, isn't he?
And what does that do? I mean, the left foot as a righty, that's your plant foot for the pitch,
That's your
right?
plant foot, and so if you have any kind of apprehension releasing the ball and landing on that foot, that's really going to mess with your mechanics.
2-0. That ball struck well out towards right. Black ranging back forward on the warning track. Settles under it just in front of the fence. The throw back in as the runners advance. It's going to be Hammond off to third. McLeod will hold it first. Runners now on the corners, but at least they prevent the run off the flyout on Fenwick.
Well, that was a little scary. That was warning track power right there. Another 8 or 10 feet, and that ball was out of here. You can see on the replay here, boom, right at the belt. And you could just tell the reaction of the hitter. He thought that it had a chance to get out. And it certainly almost did. That's about the only place you can really go at this ballpark, and you can see his back was real close to the fence when he made that catch.
Now up Ashton Patterson for the second straight inning. That ball sent well out to left. Can it stay fair? No, just a couple feet wide of the line, and Tachioka wouldn't have quite made it to that, which means it was very close to the foul line.
Good break there because if that ball lands fair, it might have gone out of play, but if it didn't, that would have almost assuredly scored 2 with 2 out. The runner at first is going on contact.
So 0-1 is the count. Remember, Patterson walked, later came in for the only run of the day, back in the third. The 0-1. That one fouled off, was well off the plate. Surprised that Patterson got the bat on that one, 1-1.
Well, and it looks like they've thrown him 2 hard pitches, and he's had difficulty getting around on that. So I would hate to see them make the mistake of throwing him something soft here and giving him a chance to speed his bat up. Get hard. I would come right into his kitchen here hard.
Make a correction. This is the 0-2 from Mejia. Up high. The batter kind of moves out of the way as though it was close. I think the only reason that was close to his face is how far he was leaning in.
Well, and that's the thing is that they'd thrown him 2 pitches outside that were hard, and he had trouble getting away on them. So when you come back into the kitchen there, if that's a strike, he's got no chance. But unfortunately, he threw it a little hard and missed high. I come back with the same thing, personally.
Here's the 1-2 from Mejia.
There it is.
Sits him down. Called strike 3 on the batter Patterson. Second strikeout of the day. And awesome by Leandro Mejia after that scary moment, that weird misplay there near the second baseman area. Really impressed he was able to regather himself, come back, grab the strikeout. And I think this is one of those games, Brian, where we often don't see a lot of offensive success, not a lot of hits that can lead to runs when this team is playing sloppy defense. We've seen a lot of offensive opportunities that's only led to 1 run today. That's why this team has been looking better as of late.
I agree 100%. And, of course, having a guy like Mejia in there, if he can throw just enough strikes, he's got that big arm. If he can throw just enough strikes to make sure that, you don't get any extra base runners on, making sure they're earning their way on, that's so important, right? I mean, let's look at the run that they did score. Started off with a 4-pitch walk to the 9-hole hitter, back-to-back singles, and they had bases loaded, nobody out, and still only scored 1 run. So when you think about that, you back that up, you throw strikes to the 9-hole hitter, and then you don't give up any runs on that in that inning. And that's really the most important thing. On the other side of the coin, you've got Andrew Case, who's throwing a lot of strikes there, a lot more strikes than balls, and he's making the Brantford hitters put the ball in play, and thus far the Guelph defense has been pretty much spotless, especially out at third base, Takamatsu, who's had 3 or 4 ground balls hit out to him already.
Yeah, he's been great on offense, great on defense in equal parts. Getting ready here for the bottom of the 4th. The offense will be back up for the Red Sox, and kicking it off is going to be Chris Ortega, the first ever guest of the Brantford Red Sox Report. And for those of you that are keeping track of Red Sox Report episodes, they go out live every Monday. So you've already seen the episode 4 with Julia Vigna, if you are a Rogers TV frequent viewer. But if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's going to be on IBL Brantford Red Sox YouTube by the end of the day. That's episode 4 with our in-game host, Julia Vigna. Fun perspective there by somebody younger in the sport, somebody newer, a youth, you could say. say, like myself. It was a really fun episode. But Chris Ortega, former star back of the show when he was an All-Star. That was right before All-Star Weekend. We filmed that. Didn't quite have the success at the All-Star game in Bernie Arbor in Hamilton that he was hoping for. Went into a little slump of his own post-All-Star, but he has been on fire. 2 home runs already this weekend, including the first 3 runs of the day on Friday on an awesome 3-run shot at the Maple Tree.
On a big shot, too. That wasn't a fence scraper. That one was well out of here. He does love that low inside pitch, doesn't he? He just kind of...
There one was. Didn't quite get all of it. Sent out towards center. Ranging back is a couple fielders. Comes down, surprisingly, to the shortstop there. Not the guy I thought was going to field it, but cleanly caught there by Morrow for the first out.
Well, a smart play there by Torres to go stay with that, because the wind is not always blowing, but when it's gusting from our left to right, so from third base to first base. And so the ball was headed out to the third base side of second, but Torres stayed with it, and the ball ended up blowing back right into his glove, tracked right to him.
So Cassidy Watt back for his second time today. Didn't even show that he was going to try a swing, and as a result, Case puts it right down the center for strike 1. No strike 2 there. That one a little bit too wide. Nice break on the horizontal side. Just a little too far for 1-1.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a slider or if that's a cutter. It's a late breaker.
Oh, up in on the batter, up towards the face of Watt. Gonna make it 1-2 there.
The slider and the cutter can look very similar, and his is just a really, really late breaking pitch. The velocity on it suggests it's a cutter. It breaks like a slider, but with the velo on it, it makes it look like a cutter.
In Arena scoreboard had 1-2. I think it's 2-1 to this point. That should be 2-2 on the second strike. Here's the pitch by Case. Swing and a miss. Sits him down there for Cassidy Watt. Second strikeout of the day for Andrew Case.
Well, he looks real good today, doesn't he? He's been filling up the zone. I don't recall the last 3 ball count that he has gone to. And, keeping his pitch count down pretty well, and he's been doing a great job there. So I'm not sure how long they're planning for him to throw with the amount, with only the 3 innings thrown, so whether he's going to be able to go a full starter length, not sure. How many, maybe they're on a pitch count. We'll have to see what Dino Romello want to do for the last 3 or 4 innings of this game.
So that was the 50th pitch for Andrew Case through 3 2/3 innings, 37 strikes to 13 balls. That one in there for ball 1 on Savage, who flew out back in the second. Even 1-1 count, 2 outs. Kicks and deals. Puts that one down Main Street again, 1-2.
Yeah, whatever that pitch is, it's breaking away from the right-handed hitter, and it's very hard. It's high 80s most likely, and so it's a real problem. And so the guys are going to have to go up there looking for that pitch and hit it the other way, the righties.
That ball fouled potentially. Right fielder may have a play on it. A little bit too wide into the first base parking lot. Always a storyline to keep an eye on. Where are you parked today, Brian? Because often you're in danger in the first base area.
Well, whenever there's no game going on the smaller field here, I'm able to find a spot underneath a tree in the main parking lot, which is one that keeps me safe. Even if a ball makes it back there, I got a tree for a little bit of extra protection, because if you can make it through the season, when you do what I do, if you're at as many ballparks as I am, if you can make it through a season without a ball hitting your truck, it's a real...
That ball popped up and over our heads. That was the 5th pitch of the at-bat. Savage doing a good job to keep it alive. This will be the 6th on 2-2.
Yeah, the only time I got hit this year was we had a doubleheader in Cambridge last month, and Dixon Park, which is...
That ball sent in play. Weird angle off the bat. Weird spin. Good catch by Burdette. And that will retire the side. The 4th inning comes to a close here as the Guelph Royals hold a 1-0 lead they acquired back in the 3rd on the Brantford Red Sox. I believe we're going to take a quick break here in IBL Brantford Red Sox baseball. We thank our audience both here on Rogers TV and on IBL Brantford Red Sox YouTube. We'll take a quick break away for a few moments as the inning turns over to the 5th, and we'll be right back here as IBL Brantford Red Sox Sunday baseball will continue in a moment. back to a beautiful Sunday afternoon of IBL Baseball. The visiting Guelph Royals lead your Brantford Red Sox 1-0 through 4 innings. Only 7 combined hits here on the day. The pitchers have looked sharp, and a new arm in for the potentially ailing Leandro Mejia. Here's Nikolai Arbach pitching for the second time this weekend. Pitched 3 great relief innings on Friday, and he's back here to kick off the 5th.
Yeah, you're just not sure whether it was Mejia being a little sore or whether that's as far as they went, keeping in mind he's not really a long guy. He's not a starter per se. He's what you call almost an opener. And so, he can throw 50, maybe 60 pitches, but he's not a 100-pitch guy like a Connor Irvin.
So here's Connor Morrow up for the 3rd time today. 0-1 becomes 0-2. Nikolai Arbach, let's give you some numbers because he has looked exceptional as of late. 40 innings pitched on the season. He's a guy that's coming in 11 ball games, started 7, 4.86 ERA, one of the better full-time ERAs on the team, but 43 strikeouts so far this year. Almost 1 per inning gets another one. Starts his day off with a K on Morrow.
And the 2 things you're going to notice right away about this young man is that, first of all, he's about 6'6". He's really, really tall. The other thing you're going to see right away about him is that arm slot, and it's almost a drop down 3/4 arm slot. Watch this release right here. You see how he comes? It's not quite a submarine, but it's a kind of a 3/4 is what we used to call it. And so what you can do off of that, first of all, it promotes a live fastball that's going to get a lot of break on it. Plus, that slider is just going to go horizontally.
That one in
A little up there. Yep. So the slider goes horizontally more. It doesn't have a whole lot of depth. The other thing, too, you can throw a changeup off of that, and you kind of just let the ball roll off your pinky finger, and you can get some depth into your changeup.
A ball. Once again, Arbach trying to pick that wide side. He's missed 2 to start this AB, 2-0.
So this is I like Arbach as he spent some time starting. I really like him as a reliever because he's got that unique delivery. He's really hard to pick up, and really good guy to go around the order once, like to face all 9 hitters. Then by the time they start making the adjustment, maybe bring another guy in. They may want to use him a little bit longer, but I mean, getting 4 good innings out of Mejia, if they can get 3 out of Arbach, they can go right to Cruz in the 8th.
Once again, ball wide there off the plate. Torres walked on 4 pitches. So Arbach strikeout stuff, the location he was finding on that first batter, didn't have it there. Going to be a 4-ball walk to Torres. And that's a great point we talk about. We've talked a lot about continuity this year between the catcher and the pitcher, but continuity for the batter on the opposing team against pitchers, seeing a starter multiple times in a game. We've talked about that this year, and seeing different arm angles. That's why it's a great point about Arbach as a reliever. He is so different than a Connor Irvin or an Aiden Armitage. He just looks so different. He must be a full reset for the batter, and that's why sometimes these bullpen games can be a little bit dangerous for the offense.
He is very much a contrast from the guy who was just in there, Mejia, who throws hard, exploding slider, really good stuff, really swing and miss stuff. And for this guy to come in looking like this, Mejia's a big guy, but this guy is big. Careful now.
Yeah.
Easy pick off there.
Got him. Oh, my goodness. I didn't believe what I was seeing with Torres. I thought Arbach must have not been checking if he was confident that wide. Picked off there at first base. Torres a huge lead.
He was definitely going there, man. You can see him bouncing, and turn around, and by the time he turned around, he had absolutely no chance to get back. And Arbach made it even better by having a perfect throw right on the bag there.
Cassidy Watt, he was so far away off the glove as that one set right at the second baseman. Fielded, no, not fielded by Bateman. There is that signature second base divot coming back to bite Bateman.
Well, Bateman's a good second baseman, but I'm sure he'd love to have that one back. What happened there where, we always talk about mechanics fielding a ground ball, you start down and work up, where he just kind of came up on it. And in fairness to Cassidy Watt, he's right in that area where we quite often get the bad bounce, but that ball completely stayed down on him, and he just lifted the glove up in the air like just enough for the ball to get through. And he was fully expecting the ball to bounce up a little bit.
Here's a man up to the plate that I jinxed 2 innings ago. Takamatsu started off today with a single, and then right as I said he hadn't done it much this year, he grounded into a double play. He's back up for the 3rd time.
So how important was that pickoff now that you got 2 out and a runner on first instead of first and third with 1 out?
I was going to say, what was funny about Torres on that pick is that ball well placed on the bottom corner. It looks like Arbach's found his spot again, but that ball was put to him, to Watt at first, and then Torres was still so far away. Watt almost misses the tag because he expects he's right there, and he still has to reach for him. Yeah, it was a crazy lead.
You're right. He went for the sweep tag, and he was, he was trying to come back. He knew he was beat, so he tried to come back in on the outfield side of first, as you always should when you're coming back on a pickoff play. That makes the reach longer. And so, like I said, he thought he had Arbach timed up. He definitely going. He thought he had Arbach timed up. So kudos to Arbach. One of the lesser known kind of principles of keeping runners close is mixing up the amount of time where you come set. See where he now comes set. So you need to mix that up. Sometimes you can just come set and go. Sometimes you come set and hang on for a second or 2 seconds or 3 seconds. We used to call it the cab system, ABC or BAC, 3, 1, and 2. So you hold for 3, hold for 1, hold for 2, just to mix it up a little bit there. But a great slider to get the strikeout and get Brantford out of the inning.
Yeah, Takamatsu sat down on a strikeout. That was the second of the inning, and the first inning of work for Arbach. Like you talked about, typically a guy that goes pretty deep in relief appearances. You see there, just the nice horizontal break, and that's what's going to be interesting for guys that see Arbach after seeing Mejia earlier. To oversimplify for the people at home, Mejia tends to work more with the y-axis, the drop, the vertical location of the pitch, whereas Arbach often works with the horizontal. How wide is the ball off his release? And that's just something for the hitters. It's always a new element to approach the ball and approach where it's going to move in a completely different way. It's like a fresh start.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of teams that have in the major leagues and that have bullpens set up specifically to give you different looks during the course of a game. They're always one inning, almost always anyway. Relief pitchers are almost always one inning guys now in the major leagues, and so you'll go from a hard throwing righty to a soft tossing lefty to a submarining righty to, and on it goes. It just give guys different looks as the game progresses, and so very important to do that. And so, like I said, the first time I saw Arbach, they used him as a starter, and he had a great start of the game, but once he had gone through the order twice, the guys had kind of figured him out, and they hit him pretty hard. So, like I say, I really like Arbach as a pitcher, and I like him coming out of the bullpen a little more than I like him as a starter. And that's not an insult at all. I don't want anybody to take it that way. Everybody has to have a role on the ball club, and, they've got – Brantford's had good starting pitching. They haven't had much luck with when you look at health. When you look at guys like Sucre and Armitage, Connor Irvine is a horse, or Irvin is a horse. We all know that, and so he's one of the few that have been able to remain healthy during the course of the season.
Well, we're back to the home offensive side. Bottom of the fifth here is the man who has been dealing today. Andrew Case returns to the mound. Ethan Palos, the one of 2 hits today for the Brantford Red Sox, got the first on the board in the second inning. Here's his first pitch. Sees one well on the inside for ball 1. And to keep you updated on the Evan Morrison Power Hour, Morrison flew out to right field his last time up just a few moments ago. So him and Tachioka both 0-2 today. Strike 1 off the far side, 1-1.
And they have a similar amount of at-bats. I think Morrison has more at-bats.
9 more, 5 more hits, yep.
Just my only point there is that when they're both over, Tachioka's average goes down a little quicker than Morrison's does. On the flip side, when he gets hits, his average will go up quicker with less at-bats. It's a small number, but when they're that close, you kind of have to break it down to that point, don't you?
Yeah, we should see Tachioka either next inning or this one should have killed well. Ball right back at Andrew Case and perfectly thrown to Burdett. And the problem today for the Red Sox is they've played teams that just a ball in play, even if the play is going to look routine, might go the way of the offense. A lot of defenses tend to make mistakes in the IBL. The Guelph Royals are not one of them.
And a good pitch there to get Paulus. The only thing I wasn't a fan of, and I'm sure his manager isn't either, throwing the ball from the mound. We've seen that too many times where pitchers can, dot the I's 60 feet to the plate, but they throw remarkably often wild to first base.
Bateman, and that one fouled off towards the first base parking lot. 0-1.
So generally what you like to see if you get a bounce backer like that and a lot of time, you like to see the pitcher at least make 8-10 steps toward first base. And if you have time to jog your way over there close enough where you can just underhand it over the first base, it's an automatic out. And I just saw it at the Elims a couple of weeks ago.
That ball close side, gets the strike. First called inside strike on a right-hander in a while, 1-2.
Just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, at Sunday at the eliminations for the 22U, you know, a win there gets you off to nationals. And strike three there, man.
Strike
nice
three called. Quick stare down from Bateman, and that is number 29, second strikeout of the day.
Just to finish that point, I was watching a left-handed pitcher who used to throw for me, pitching for Windsor in the semifinals there. Had 2 out and a runner on first and got a quick 2-bouncer back to the mound and turned and fired it from the mound. Overthrew his first baseman. He had plenty of time to just run it over there and hand it off to the first baseman. He would have been out of the inning. Well, the next guy up hit a 3-run home run. He lost the game 5-4. So at the end of the day, I really like to see pitchers just get off the mound, get onto the grass, get a little closer to first, make a nice safe throw. It's an automatic out. Make sure you get it.
So Jacob Cantor now up facing Case, who again has looked virtually impenetrable here for this Brantford offense. And one thing I want to bring up, just as an interesting point, is pace of the ball game. It's something we don't talk about much in the IBL. We get a lot of long games here, especially in Brantford. You'll speak to that, Brian, as two guys that have called a lot of games on hot days. This game is flying by. 2 o'clock start time, 3:20. We're already a couple pitches away potentially from the 6th inning. So that speaks to Case. He's a very quick release. Grab the ball. Let's count. About 2, 3. He's going to take a little bit longer here. But you watch in between pitches, there will be times the ball in his glove to the next pitch can be 5 or 6 seconds. 2-0, little high, 3-0. First time he's had a 3-0 count in a couple innings.
Well, the other thing I noticed, too, is that I don't recall him ever shaking off the catcher. Seems like whatever the catcher calls, he just starts into his delivery.
3-0. And he gets it wide off the outside part of the plate. Those are the couple pitches that can really shake up an at-bat. That could have been a ball, but for Cantor, he's got to stay in at 3-1. Here's the pitch from Case. That one sent off towards right, just foul. Going to be off by about 5 to 10 feet. And the record in the MLB record for fastest game, it was, I believe, a complete game. It might have been a no-hitter, but Mark Burley has the record back when he pitched for the Chicago White Sox. An hour 58, the fastest he ever did it. But he was one of those guys, just a quick deal, quick release, and often it does benefit the pitcher.
Yeah, on top of that, he's a pitch-to-contact guy. He wasn't a real hard thrower, so you know, he had a few one pitch, one out situations there. Generally speaking, strikeout pitchers, a guy like Mahi who doesn't throw a lot of strikes.
And there is ball 4 finally for Cantor. First walk of the day for Andrew Case. Found a hole in Superman's armor.
So now you got 2 outs and a runner on first. You got the 9-hitter up. Now, a lot of times you think to yourself, maybe we'd like to send this runner. Cantor runs very well. Having said that, I'm not sure you want to do that with the 9-hitter up, because if he does not get on base, you've got the top of the order coming up in the next inning.
Well, here's a man who wears many hats for the Red Sox. Part-time pitcher, part-time DH. Swing and a miss for strike 1 at his first pitch. And I believe I saw on his social media this week that he's a psychotherapist. I don't have an exact definition on that, but I'm not super involved in the world of, physical rehabilitation. That one sent off towards Takamatsu. He's been spotless today on defense. Gets another one to Burdette. That will cap off the bottom of the 5th. Cantor, the first walk of the day, the only base runner of the 5th for the Red Sox. We'll jump over here to the top of the 6th. And again, we talk about pace, how quick this day is gone. One of the reasons that's the case is how Takamatsu, you'll see here, is just so patient in his throws from 3rd to 1st.
Well, his tempo is fantastic. He got a 2-hopper there that he knew he had plenty of time. So it's important as a third baseman. Generally, you get that ball quicker. A shortstop's got to go right, left field, right, left throw, whereas a third baseman can do a little double pump there, make sure he's square to the target, get off a good level throw. Because if you're going to miss on a throw across, you want to miss low. Really important there. Obviously, you throw high, the first baseman has no defense for it. You can throw it low and bounce it, and the first baseman gets paid to pick balls. So, just mechanically really solid from Takamatsu. I notice we've got some action going on in the Guelph bullpen. Like I say, I don't know how many Case is going to throw. In fact, he may be done.
I mean, if he is, what a spotless ball game there by Andrew Case. And it's almost a shame for him. This is one of those games that you almost think the pitcher deserves more run support from his side. For this game to still be so close, if you're Guelph, you have spotless pitching through 5. If you bring in a reliever that doesn't quite have it up to snuff, the ball game could get out of hand. We saw that, speaking of Jonathan Warden, who started on Friday for the Barrie Bay Cats. That was a game a couple weeks ago, I believe 3 Fridays ago. The Barrie Bay Cats shut the Red Sox out with only 1 hit through 7 innings. They bring in Warden as their reliever in the 8th. He walks the first 5 batters, and suddenly the ball game is 6-5. It's just one of those tough things as a starting pitcher. You can only control so much, and this ball game very much still in hand despite the Royals pitching.
Very well put, and so they've got some action going on in the bullpen right now. Andrew Case gave him a real great start there, and he was at one point in the Blue Jays farm system. So they've got so much good pitching. They've got Custodio, they've got Jacob Cush, who really shoved it on them when they were in Guelph last. I think they only had 2 or 3 hits. They lost 5-1, and so Kyle Thomas now is warming up for Guelph in the bullpen.
It was just announced, I believe we have a pinch hitter here. First ball, picks that far side once again. Great job by Nikolai Arbach starting off at bats with competitive pitches. Get you an ID here in just a moment. That one in, broken bat, back to Arbach. He'll race the batter to first. He'll win the race. Quick throw into Watt. First out of the 6th inning, and a new piece of wood will be needed there. That bat is in a couple pieces. I believe that might have been your guy there.
That was Topley, I think, wasn't it?
That was Topley. So that one, broken bat, that could have been the 500th RBI.
I didn't recognize him. He shaved off his mustache.
So that'll be something to watch next time he's up there, Brian. Remember, 1 away, 499 career RBIs in the IBL over 26 seasons. I believe if the article I just read a few moments ago is correct, first game played in 1995 in the IBL.
Yep. Like I said, it was back in the early 90s when I was standing behind him as a catcher for the Stratford Juniors.
For context, is that pitch, I believe, should make it 2-0 on the low side here to Ethan Hammond. For context, back Brantford, the Red Sox lead the IBL with 15 all-time championships. Back when Topley started in the IBL, we had 8. For a little bit of context for you.
Yeah, and of course he was in Toronto for years.
Ball well hit out to right. That's Black. Settles under it. Goes to a knee to make the catch. And another ball put out there. Arbach, the pitcher, quick point at his right fielder.
He came to Stratford to the indoor place there to do a catching clinic for Stratford minor baseball one year. My good friend Dana Dusky brought him in. Those two go way back. Played together in Toronto for years. And of course Dana was a real stud in the IBL for years and was a 2-time All-American at Pitt University.
Here's Jeff McLeod. Up for the 3rd time today. Popped up in the 2nd, but then singled in the 4th.
And that's that real good live tailing fastball that you get from a drop-down arm angle.
2 outs, 0-1. Oh, that one just looked like it slipped out of the hand. 1-1 even.
The other thing about a guy who's 6'6" like that, by the time he releases the ball, you feel like he's halfway home. He really stretches out there from 60 feet, and he takes another 6 or 7 feet off of the distance.
That ball grounded foul towards the road dugout. I want to double check 6'6", because as somebody, I've stood next to Nikolai Arbach a couple times. I'm on the low side of 6'5", and he towers above me. So
if you told me 6'8" or 6'9", I believe it, because he towers over me. I got a 6'6" kid.
My guess would be 6'9", as that one's fouled off once again by McLeod. Let's check the number here. 6'8", 225, according to the website. Holy cow.
So when you add the rise of the mound, he looks like an NBA player standing out there.
Well, 6'8", he's the size of an NBA player already. That one fouled off again towards 3rd. Good job from McLeod to keep it alive.
So like I say, when he gets to that full extension and he gets releasing out front, he's probably knocking 7 or 8 feet off the distance home. So it actually gives him the equivalent of extra velo because the ball is traveling less distance.
That ball in low in the feet 222 reads the scoreboard, and for context, we'll give you an exact amount for you people watching at home. He is the same height as LeBron James. Weighs 25 pounds less, which, to be fair, look at LeBron on social media, and then you look at Arbach. I don't think they're going for the same build. Strike 3 there. Sits him down. 3 up, 3 down. Great 6th inning of work. The second for Arbach, and he's got 3 Ks through 7 batters.
Absolutely, he's doing great there. He's filling up the zone. He's mixing in that tailing fastball with the slider. That was a really good sequence where he threw the ball inside and it tailed back for a called strike. Then he threw the ball inside and got the batter into swing mode, but it turned out it was a slider that came in and what turned into a back foot slider. And just for context there, for the uninformed, the back foot slider is one that comes across the plate but goes and drops down toward the back foot of the batter. And then on the 3rd strike, he did the same thing. He came back inside and had it tail back in for a called 3rd strike. So very good control, pinpoint control. Great job by Arbach. And again, you get 3 innings out of him, and then you can get to De La Cruz to pitch the 8th and the 9th innings.
So as we get started for the offensive half of the 6th inning, it's going to be Brody Black, Ren Tachioka, and Chris Ortega. We're back to the top of the lineup, the best and brightest for the Red Sox. We'll try to bring this ball game closer than the 1-0 it's been since the 3rd. And we're still on Morrison watch. He has not come back up since his 2nd appearance. But like you said, the way I would describe Tachioka the rest of the year for the batting title is volatile, where one big at-bat that goes against him is going to drop that score real far. But just one at this point, if Morrison stays 0 for 3, I think would tie them back up. And it's one of those things that I know the batting title is the thing that maybe if you don't follow baseball all the time, you're like, why is this such a big deal? But it really is such a bright spot for this Red Sox organization that all year, as somebody who speaks to a lot of people around the league, who represents the team on a wide scale, on a league level, somebody who's been preaching, I think we have a lot of the best pieces. Our personnel, there is a great foundation here in Brantford for what can be not just a good, but a great offensive baseball team next year. And Tachioka, should he return for the 2026 season, he is a great example of that. And so often batting title leaders reflect just offensive juggernauts that play for the best teams. Last year it was Jake Sanford of the Welland Jackfish, who are an absolute wagon here in the IBL. So for Tachioka to do it, I think would just be great for him to reflect what he's done for an organization that if it gets the pieces around him next year can be a real juggernaut. Like maybe not a Welland, but it's a reward befitting of exactly how great he's been this year.
Frankly, I'm not convinced that they couldn't be like a Welland. They've got some real nice pieces there. We mentioned the outfield, and they're all similar batters. High average, high speed, contact hitters. They've got good power in Watt and Ortega. A little more depth. Don't forget, Bateman is a guy who will probably be a bottom of the order guy, but can hit for a decent average, can hit extra bases, got a little bit of power, steals bases. And in a diamond like this, I referred to it earlier, your righties, I would think, would be the high average speedsters. And then, the one thing that I really like to see them bring in, as I mentioned before, is a power hitting left-handed hitter. Take advantage of, the closest thing they have to a short porch here in Brantford.
Here's Brody Black looking at 1-1. That one straight to Takamatsu. The first misplay of the day from Garrett Takamatsu. And really, the entire Royals infield will put Black on base on first for his 2nd time today.
Well, and that's a shocker, too, because it's not like that was a tough one. That was a one-hopper that came up and just ate him up. And I think it just a little more velo than I think it had a little more velo on it than Takamatsu was ready for. Normally very sure-handed. So here's what's going to happen now is don't think bad of me, but, Damon Topley, who I've known for a long time and really love, doesn't have the wheels he used to have. So a bunt here should go up the first baseline if they're going to bunt.
That one nicely placed on the bottom part of the zone. 2 substitutions here on defense for the Royals. First, the pitcher. Now Kyle Thomas comes in a reliever for the Royals bullpen. He's pitched 5 innings on the season. And yes, Topley is now in for Nick Burdett defensively at first. Speaking of on first, Black's there. Here's Tachioka.
Runner.
Black goes. The pop. Gets it there, and the second baseman jumps over the batter. The shortstop. He is safe on second. Nice speed there by Brody Black. Interesting play. The ball just too high, but the nice play there by the shortstop. Jumps up. Morrow tries to tag underneath him well in the air.
Very athletic play. He almost got the tag on there, too, which was really impressive. So I really, really want to see a bunt here now, to be honest with you, especially with the infield back. Now's the time to bunt one.
0-2. Tachioka needs a hit. Well off the plate. Nicely blocked there by Pina.
Well, a hard bunt up the first base line is an easy hit, and frankly, down the third base line with Takamatsu behind third. What's going to happen here is clearly what's going on. There's a couple different ways to play a bunt with a runner on second. One is the wheel play where the third baseman crashes and the shortstop has got to beat the base runner over to third base for a potential play there. They don't normally do that with a left-handed hitter because the shortstop has to be more up the middle. But if you see how far back the first baseman is, he's all the way back to the grass. There's a real opportunity to, at the very least, as much as I'd like to see Tachioka get a hit.
Speaking of that ball, played to second. Looked at third, no throw up to Toppoli, and Tachioka grounds out to the second baseman. Still 0 for 3 today, 0 for 13 for the weekend.
Well, here's the good news is that it's a kind of a weird way to look at it now when them out of the playoffs. You think bigger picture, you've moved the runner over to third. You've got your number one RBI guy up at the plate with a runner on third and less than 2 out in a one-run ball game. He did his job. He advanced the runner, what I've referred to before on this program as a productive out. And now Guelph should be bringing the infield in, I would think.
Here's Chris Ortega. First pitch he looks at is belted out foul down the third base line. Had good speed, just misplaced it a little bit. Here's a guy who's been hot, unlike Tachioka this weekend.
That's a shame because that was a hanger and he ripped that, but he just couldn't keep it fair.
Chris Ortega, again, 2 home runs on the weekend. I believe a combined 5 RBIs between the two.
Yeah, under category of right man, right spot right here.
Runner on third. Thomas makes that one hittable as well. Down it comes. Runner comes in. Chris Ortega. Need oven mitts to touch him right now. What a weekend. Another RBI, his 6th in 3 games. And coming home is Brody Black. Just a single, a steal, quick run on the Tachioka groundout. And now he's home off the single for Ortega.
And that's going to be it for Thomas, or are we...
Just a mound visit for now.
Well, they've called the trainer out.
I see the replay here. Great piece of hitting there by Ortega. It was kind of the same spot as before, but a little less power, a little further right. Well placed, and you're right. Thomas is just hanging balls over the plate to the righties. Evens it up 1-1.
Sorry, Marcel, I'm not sure what happened there. Clearly, Dino saw something that I didn't see. I was watching the ball going out into left field, and they're going to pull him.
Interesting moment here.
But they had nobody warming up in the pen, so clearly this is an injury situation, and I don't like that. That last pitch was really slow.
Yeah, Thomas. Oh.
I don't know Thomas as a pitcher. I don't know if that's his normal velo, but it just the last couple of pitches were like the velo was really down, and so I don't. He does not look very comfortable walking back to the dugout. I have no idea. I wouldn't want to try and speculate on an injury.
It almost looks more like illness than injury. He just doesn't look very, very well, we'll say. The reliever coming in, again, straight off the bench, as you mentioned, no time to warm up. That is number 16 here. We'll get you an idea on him in just a moment for the Guelph Royals. But, yeah, that's just it's a heartbreaking situation. Again, you talked about how well Andrew Case played so far and how, he controlled the ball game comfortably through 5. It's finally out of his hands, and it's going to be Niall Windler coming in for the Guelph Royals out of the bullpen, number 16. And it's just one of those situations that a couple bad pitches from a guy that clearly wasn't feeling well is all it took to tie this ball game up. That's why 1-0 is it's the worst lead in sports, and Chris Ortega is sitting there waiting on first for Cassidy Watt, who's going to come up for the 3rd time today to potentially give his side the lead.
Well, Windler's a left-handed pitcher. As you can see, he's got 6 games he's been in. He started 1. He's got 9 innings pitched. He's got 12 strikeouts in those 9 innings. And only 2 walks, so an ERA at 2.79. So he's someone certainly that manager Dino Romello trusts. And they need him here to get out of a bit of a fix in a 1-1 ball game. And these games may not mean overall very much to Brantford, but they very much do to Guelph as they continue to jockey for playoff positioning. Even if you can't get in the top 4 to get home field advantage, you never know in this league. There's an upset in the first round just about every year. And so you never know, a couple upsets, you may end up with home field advantage in round 2.
With Windler now on the mound. First pitch, wide side, strike 1 to Cassidy Watt. And I'll make it this very easy. Here's some IBL intellect for all you fans watching at home. If I'm a team fighting for seeding at the bottom of the order, do not get the 8 seed to have to play Welland. That's what you're trying to avoid. To be honest with you, you look at the teams going top to bottom, and we can talk about them if you want, but Welland is the team that the top 3 in that order, all lefties, all batting well over 300, all rabbits, all run, Porcello and Weisner. I mean, that's a scary lineup. Plus, they've got a ton of pitching, and of course, if they get down to the 8th inning with a lead, then you got Davey Mendez and his 95-mile-an-hour gas coming out of the bullpen. So recently acquired Pedro de los Santos from Brantford as well.
And de los Santos, yeah, you're right. And so they've got that righty-lefty combination coming out of the bullpen. And Brantford fans know de los Santos. In fact, IBL fans should all know de los Santos as well. He's pitched for 2 or 3 teams now.
Cassidy Watt is up 3-1 here. That ball wide off the plate. Free pass. Chris Ortega will move on to second. Watt will move on to first. That's his 4th walk of the weekend.
Well, one thing we noticed right away about Windler is that live arm he's got. I don't know if that's a 2-seamer or just a live arm on a 4-seamer, but that fastball really breaks a good 4 to 6 inches there.
Well, here's Andrew Savage coming up. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he also hit a home run yesterday in last night's ball game. 2 home runs for him on the season, one of them against Chatham. Big spot here. Runners on first and second.
Sure is.
He's got Palos behind him, who's hit well this weekend in contact. First ball inside low. Ball 1.
The difference with Paulus there, it's a lefty-lefty matchup, so you'd really like to see Savage do some damage before Paulus comes up.
Here's the 1-0. Windler, that one tipped. Is just a little bit above the bat. 1-1.
Good gas from Windler. Like I say, live arm, and so it makes him a tough matchup. You can see that the second baseman is playing up the middle there. You almost want to just maybe sit on that outside tailing fastball, dump it through the hole, and probably scores a run from second.
That ball belted the gap between third and shortstop. Coming around is Ortega. Ball back in from left. He's in, slides in. Chris Ortega gives the team the lead, and the ball's wild. Another base for Savage, another base for Watt. The Brantford Red Sox have come alive here in the 6th, and they now lead it 2-1.
A nice piece of hitting there. He yanked it, got it past through the shortstop. Good jump by the runner at second, and scored pretty easily. Cardinal mistake by your left fielder there, overthrowing the cutoff, overthrowing everybody, singing to the backstop, and then now you don't have the forced play on anymore. You would have had first and third, and so you could at least play your middle infield back and look for a double play, but now you got to have everybody in.
So here's Paulos. Talked about lefty-lefty matchup. Looks at 1-2 high, and again, he's now got Watt on third, Savage the single, but then the error, the throw from the left fielder put him on second.
So like I say, with a lefty-lefty matchup and a runner on first.
Paulos, that one legal, right to Toppel. He's going to try to hold him. Runner's going to go. Watt tries home. Not in time. Watt tagged out at home by the catcher. Fair chance to try. I think he was trying to test Toppoli, but we talk about how much of a veteran is. He saw that play all the way.
Well, I tell you what, he may not run like he used to, but that's still a 48-year-old's arm back there, and so you're running on a catcher's arm when you're scoring from first. A lot of first basemen don't have the big arm, but you know what? Sometimes you take a chance, and I've been promoting all season long for them to be more aggressive, so if they get caught, I can't be too critical.
Let's head away to a break. We'll be back in just a few moments here for Brantford Red Sox IBL Baseball. of the 7th inning kicks off. We welcome you back to IBL Brantford Red Sox Baseball as the Guelph Royals take on the home Brantford Red Sox. Through 6 innings, 2-1 now leads the home side after 2 runs in the last inning. We thank you for joining us on a very hot, very beautiful Sunday afternoon here on Rogers TV. That pitch high, now 1-2 after Arbach started off with 2 straight strikes to Anderson Fenwick, the right fielder, up for the 3rd time today. He's 0 for 2 off a strikeout and a flyout in the 4th. That one sent up and over the head of the shortstop. Can't get there. Ball comes down, and the gap between short and left. Anderson Fenwick on the board to open up the 7th.
A nice piece of hitting there, a little inside-out swing. Muscled the ball over the shortstop's head into, dumped it into left field. So wasn't a bad pitch, but every once in a while you got to tip your cap to a guy who puts a good swing on a pitch for you.
That was a concern we talked about with a lot of pitchers as Ashton Patterson, the center fielder, comes up to bat the 9 hole. We've talked about that a lot this year. He started off 0-2 there, did Arbach, and earlier in the season, pitch selection often looked like the pitcher thought it was 2-0. It wasn't a situation there. Just got a little bit unlucky as Patterson puts down the bunt. Perfect bunt. Can he get it there? Yes, he can. Arbach, the little glove toss over to first. Great play there for the first out.
Well, that and, what is that, about 4 paces for Arbach to go from the mound to first base. He just big 3 loping steps. Watch this here. He just goes 1, 2, 3, and all of a sudden he's already over there. And not my favorite play, flipping it with the glove, but he managed to make it work, got the out. And so now it's a real key at bat here.
Yes, it is. Welcome back, Connor Morrow, up for the 4th time today. 1 for 3 as a strikeout, but a single back in the 3rd, his last 2 at-bats. Runner on 2nd now. That's Fenwick. Arbach keeping an eye. Oh, interesting. A little bit of horizontal break and not enough. Ball 1.
Yeah, it just didn't get the release point there. I believe Savage wanted that one outside, trying to get him to roll over, and he just missed inside.
Guys had the best day of anybody in the Royals offense coming up next. That's Franklin Torres. He's on deck. Swing and a miss there from Morrow, evens it up 1-1. And again, Torres, who's up next, hitting .531, small sample size coming into today, and he's backed it up. 2 walks and a single, although he did have that pretty easy pickoff a couple innings ago.
Yeah, like I say, he thought he had the timing set right for the pitcher, and good job by Arbach to hang on to it.
1-1. That one struck out pretty well to right. Black doesn't know where to track it. Now he finds it. Yes, he does. Gets it in the glove, and the runner goes forward to 3rd. At least they put the out on the board, and now a very high leverage moment. Probably the biggest at-bat of the game so far coming up for Torres and the Royals.
Well, and you're in a difficult situation here. You got a guy who was probably their hottest hitter up right now. You got a runner on the tying run is on 3rd base. You have 2 outs, and it's not a blanket situation where you walk him and face Pena, who was a tough customer as well to handle. But you just have to make sure here that if he gets a hit off you, it's got to be off of your pitch. If you're going to miss, you got to miss out here.
First pitch, strike on the wide side, 0-1.
And that's a great start there where you get ahead of him and get him in a little bit of a defensive mode. But like I said, any mistake you make here, and he's probably going to put it in the outfield and tie this game up.
Well wide that time. A little bit of a gesture there. It looked like Torres was kind of waving off the runner on 3rd.
I'd like to see them bust him in here, that live fastball. I'd like to see him go right in on it with it, maybe even off the plate, see if he can get a swing.
Right down Main Street. 1-2. That's a big pitch for Arbach here.
Well, that's not where he asked for it, but he got away with it on the take from Torres. But now, like I said, I'm going back inside here. I want to get in and make sure that I jam him. If he's going to hit it, he's got to inside out it.
Make Torres work for it. The 1-2. Well wide off the plate. Nicely caught there by Savage. A wild pitch now. Would almost certainly score a run.
Just a bit of an overthrow, and he yanked it glove side. So, like I say, execution is necessary here. We've seen it many, many times before where a Brantford pitcher gets a guy to 2 strikes. So now you need to execute this pitch right here.
2-2. Gonna take time. Steps off the mound. Quick break here. This is a high leverage pitch, and both of these guys here know it.
Yeah, this is a big situation. You get out of this and you get to De La Cruz for the 8th and the 9th to hold this lead up. So got to get this guy right here.
Oh, close side. Fans here in attendance not happy with that one. And now 1 ball away is Torres from his 3rd walk. 1 strike away is Arbach from getting himself out of the 7th.
Apologize for my animation there. I really thought he had him. That was exactly what I was hoping to see, and he must have just missed it. Oh, that time again.
Sits him down, says the home plate umpire. Called strike 3. It was so close, and a smile of almost seeming frustration from Torres.
Well, he dotted the I there. So a nice pitch on the outer. He must have just caught the black because that was a heck of a pitch. Torres wanted no part of it. I don't think he was expecting a fastball out. And, you know, execution. And so, like I said, it wouldn't surprise me at all if 37's out to pitch the last 2 innings of this game for Brantford. So now the job for the Brantford offense is to get him a little more breathing space down to the bottom of the 7th here, 7th inning stretch. And I think it's Cantor up first, I think. Don't quote me on that.
Let me double check here. Yeah, it'll
it's
be
either Bateman or Cantor. Bateman, then Cantor. So 7, 8, 9. So if somebody can get on base to get around back to the top of the order to a very hot hitter in Brody Black. And, of course, get Tachioka one more crack at getting on the board with a hit, bring that average back up a little bit.
So here we go as the 7th inning stretch comes to a close. Let's see a return from the same pitcher as last inning. And now the Royals find themselves in the pressure spot here in the pitching side of the inning. Now down 2-1. They got to retire 9 more outs. And the Brantford Red Sox offense, again, we're here at the bottom. You know you got to play Black, Tachioka, Ortega, and Watt one more time. And we've talked about it a little bit. I'm always a big fan of the phrase water finds its level. And with Tachioka here 0-3 today, you got to think he's got a hit to give. And same with Watt. The fact that I don't believe he has a real hit all weekend. He's got 4 walks, but no base hits. You got to think you're still playing with fire the rest of the way for the Royals pitching staff.
Yes, you're right. And Guelph has an opportunity here. Hamilton's tied 3-3 in their game, and so a Guelph victory would go a long way to get them into the 5 spot. And, London is a team that you be careful what you wish for, but they don't really hit that well. They can pitch really well. They just don't hit a lot, and so they're not a bad opponent in the playoffs. Everybody's tough in the playoffs, especially in the top 5.
So here he is, Lucas Bateman. 0-1 here early. So this is Windler. That ball sent over the head of the second baseman. Comes down. What a catch by the right fielder, Anderson Fenwick. Oh my goodness. Sliding catch, did it with comfort. The outfield defense is playing as well as the infield now. What a day today on the defensive side.
Oh, well, yeah, nice sliding catch there, and, he pricked it right off his shoe tops. Really nice control physically and good vision, good hustle, great defensive play, solid mechanics.
So Windler against Cantor. First pitch well on the close side. Jacob Cantor up 1-0.
Jake Cantor has a little smile on his face there thinking, I could have just turned my back to that pitch. I'd be on first base right now, but it's easy to say afterwards. Obviously, your instincts kick in when a ball comes at you at 85 mile an hour. You want to get the heck out of the way. It's tough to talk yourself into stepping into that. Looks like we're going to get a pinch hitter for Tebbett.
Yeah, we'll get you an ID once our new bat comes in.
Looks like Veilleu's going to bat for Tebbett.
Yeah, Jeremy Veilleux, one of the veterans of this team, a guy that hasn't played too many ball games and yet somehow tied for the walk lead. At least prior to this weekend, I think Cassidy Watt would have overtaken him for that by now. Another ball in on Cantor, 3-1 now. Kicks and deals Windler. Close side again, ball 4. Free pass taken by Cantor. That's the second of the day for Windler.
Well, here's an opportunity for Brantford to get aggressive. You got a left-handed pitcher up. Now, a lot of times you say it's not a good time to run. But unless he's got a real good move to first base, then you can get a good jump off a lefty if you time it right. You got a good lefty-righty matchup, Veilleux in a veteran presence here, and a guy like Veilleux who can hit it to all parts of the ballpark as well.
That ball struck well by Veilleux, out to right. Tracking back again. Catch made there by Fenwick. He's having to keep the legs moving in this inning. Quickly retired.
Well, Bayou got a pitch he wanted to see if he wanted to hit, and he hacked at it and hit it okay, just right at the direction of the right fielder. So now you're back to the top of the order, and let's hope Brody Black can keep it going for Tachioka.
So back to the top of the order for the 4th time today. Brody Black up with Cantor on first. Cantor goes. Tries the pop. In is Cantor. Safe with the steal. Get you a number on the season. Cantor's had a couple in his young season here with the Red Sox, but that'll be his first recorded success.
Well, that's the deal with lefties. You know, if you're going to go, you go on first motion. As soon as he picks that right leg up, you take off. You know, if he's coming over to first with the throw, you just keep running. So now with good wheels on second base, pretty good arm out there and right. So if I would ideally, if you can get Black to pull something through the hole here, outfielder playing very deep.
Nice there. That ball fouled off, just clear of the first base line. 1-2. So Windler, another pitcher in a relatively unfavorable situation here. Brody Black, for a large part of the season, led in RBIs. He actually had it over Ortega there for a while. That no longer the case, but he's still a great offensive option. It's why he's leading off. That's why they like him in big spots like this. That one chopped right towards Takamatsu. He gloves it well. The throw. It is in time, but not gloved by the first baseman. Cantor thought about circling. He'll head back to third, and Toppoli, his first defensive misplay, puts Black on first. So next up is going to be the man we've been heavily focused on here today. Tachioka's now got runners on the corners for him. He's had plenty of base runners today. You'll see here off the bat. Black, that one had a good velo at Takamatsu, but once again, he gloves it well. You see here, it's in time. Would have been there, but Toppoli can't quite glove it clean.
Well, I think Dino Ramel came out there looking for some obstruction. Not 100% sure, but he asked the umpires to go have a conference and talk about if they saw some obstruction, whether it was a case where there was some contact made with Black and Toppoli out at first base. Don't quote me on that, but it sure seemed like that was what was going on.
Runners on the corners. First pitch in on the close side to Tachioka, and he just cannot buy a called ball anywhere near the zone today.
Oh, you got a lefty-lefty matchup, but if you can stay in a pitch, got a good opportunity here.
And big stakes here for the batting title. 1-1, runners on the corners for Tachioka.
Not only that, but base hit will score a run and give a little extra breathing room to the pitching staff.
Runner goes in time. Once again, athletic is the shortstop there, Morrow. But the catcher just not quite putting it in the spots he can play. That's another swipe for the Red Sox.
Well, just about every throw down, in fact, I think every throw down to second base on stolen bases has been high. Everyone he's had to leave his feet on every throw down there from Pena.
That ball up and foul. Luckily out of play. He'll stay alive.
And Dino just came out of the dugout and brought the outfielders in. I guess he doesn't feel like Tachioka will hit the ball deep. They're trying to make sure that a soft humpback liner doesn't drop in front of an outfielder.
Swing and a miss. Tachioka's struggles continue, and another one in a decently big spot there. First strikeout of the day, but that makes it an 0 for 14 skid on the weekend.
Well, and that's a shame, but that was a good pitch there, a good breaking ball from Windelar. Dropped down in the zone, and sure enough, according to Hoyle, De La Cruz coming out to pitch the 8th inning for Brantford. So let's hope he's on his game and get this closed out for the Red Sox.
Now let's talk a little bit about De La Cruz. We've called him 37 all game. He's well known here to Brantford. Mid-season acquisition. He comes in a high leverage spot here with 1 run. But I'm feeling pretty confident here as a Brantford Red Sox fan, and there's pretty good reason for that. Pretty good data to suggest he'll close this one out pretty well.
Well, he's got the full package there. He's got he throws it real hard. He throws it easily into the 90s. He's got a good live fastball. He's got a wicked slider. He does throw a changeup. He doesn't throw it very much mostly because he doesn't hardly need it. Quite often you'll find a guy who's in a short relief situation that'll just stick to 2 pitches, and there's nothing wrong with that. When you're only going to throw an inning or maybe 2 innings, that's all you'll throw generally is 2 pitches. I always like having pitchers equipped with a changeup that just gives a different look, especially to lefties. So you can throw the slider to the righties and you can throw the changeup to the lefties. But I mean, at the end of the day, this guy has an ERA that looks a little bit inflated, but at 4.50. But that there was one particular outing where he got roughed up a little bit, but he's been pretty overpowering down the stretch.
Well, here comes De La Cruz. 2 more innings of work. It's a hot day here at Arnold Anderson. So very glad that pitchers have been relatively subbed out in quick succession. Nobody's really had to make a long go of it. But again, I think it is important to note just how good that Royals pitching staff was early on to keep this ball game as close as it was. That big explosion there in the 6th, you got to wonder if we would have seen that earlier, if not for what Case did and the offense. The best return they could have for the favor today is to get some bats woken up here in the 8th inning. First pitch from De La Cruz, picks the bottom corner perfectly.
Well, and the good news for Guelph moving forward is that you get Case stretched out, and he'll be a real big piece for you in the playoffs.
That one called strike 2, ball in the dirt, swung at. This is Kiner Pena up for the 4th time today.
So I feel like he probably hasn't seen De La Cruz, and so this is a real tough matchup for Pena. But
that one struck right past the shortstop, bounces to center, let off. Pena's 2nd hit of the day and 2nd back-to-back.
Well, and it just proves, at the end of the day, you make a mistake at this level, and these guys punish you. It doesn't matter how hard you throw it. I've seen Davey Mendez get lit up by Blake Jacklin when he made a mistake pitch to him for a bases clearing double down the first base line. So just as another aside from a game that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot, got runners on base now. Damon Toppoli on deck looking for his 500th career RBI. And as much as the Brantford Red Sox fans would not like to see it, it would be kind of cool to be around for such a momentous occasion.
Interesting, it's not only hits, it's RBIs, and an RBI right now would be huge for the road side. That one, a little too far inside. Home fans didn't agree. Ball 1 to Garrett Takamatsu.
Well, I think the home fans weren't the only ones that disagreed. Savage did that catcher freeze when, clearly he wanted the pitch, and De La Cruz asked the umpire where that pitch was. Clearly he thought it was down.
So 1-0. Runner Pena on first. Swing and a miss off the wide side. De La Cruz evens it up 1-1, and again, Toppoli is on deck.
That's just a filthy pitch that he has there, De La Cruz. I'm glad, just makes you glad to be sitting up here, long since retired. And he throws top that slider, and he's going to be thinking the same thing I'm thinking.
Here's the 1-1. De La Cruz, that one chopped just foul by Takamatsu. Ortega's a good defender. Still wouldn't have quite been able to range out for that one.
So now we have a very similar situation here where Takamatsu hit into a double play earlier in this game. They had 2 strikes on him, and they really worked the slider hard. And if you can locate that slider down and away, if you don't get a strikeout, you could get a rollover here. And, of course, Takamatsu is a pretty good double play candidate.
The 1-2. Sits him down. Swing and a miss. Jorge De La Cruz. Garrett Takamatsu's been good today, but 2 Ks now on the ledger, and a well-timed K by De La Cruz. Here's Toppoli.
And here comes my boy Damon, and like I say, I've known him since he was a teenager, and it's just really cool to see him still in a uniform. Having said that, the slider, right to the slider, over and over, that's what I'd probably feed him and see if you can get a ground ball out of him, because, again, a very good double play candidate here.
First pitch. Good power, good location, strike 1. So runner Pena on first. To get the RBI, he'd need a big swing of the bat. Toppoli would need a little bit of power under this one. The 0-1. That one right down Main Street. Sent it a long way, but sent it off foul. 0-2.
As much as I've said he is a double play candidate, you have to respect his power. He can't shoot one to the gap, and then they got a real problem. They may have a play at the plate there because he'll be going. I see the outfield playing by and large deep. Paul's not real deep in center, though.
That one in the dirt. No swing, says the first base umpire. They tried the appeal. 1-2.
No fun at all facing this dude, man. And, you know, there's some hometown bias here because I've seen De La Cruz throw a few times. But, you know, the more often I see him, the more I appreciate everything he brings to the table.
1-2. Big pitch here for De La Cruz. Remember, 1 out in the inning.
Got to be a slider here.
He deals. Swing and a miss on the inside part of the plate. Topley sat down. Second straight strike for De La Cruz.
Well, I guess it doesn't need to be a slider. It can be a tailing fastball, busting him in on the inside, back footing him. And nobody's quick enough to get around on that. He was just trying to foul it off and had no chance, so he was a little bit overpowered.
Well, I pardon my relative silence in this inning. I've been doing a little bit of research. I have a fun stat to share once the half inning comes to a close. Next up here is Ethan Hammond. 1 for 3 today, single and a pair of flyouts.
And with the catcher on first, you don't anticipate a stolen base here, but they could sure use one now to get him into scoring position.
First pitch from De La Cruz, right down Main Street. Strike 1.
Yeah, that live fastball, you got to love that. And he's just so overpowering. The only time really you can get on him is when he makes a mistake over the middle of the plate. And if he stays to the side of the plate, he should have some success with this at bat.
The 0-1. Inside. Ball 1.
And that's a good miss there. If you're going to miss, you want to miss in or down. And, you know, all that is a ball. It won't hurt you there.
One of the keys today. Going to knock on wood, but no wild pitches, no real mistakes getting the ball to the plate. Savage is blocked well. Here's the 1-1. I almost jinxed it there. Oh, the umpire. Umpire down with a little bit of discomfort there. The ball caught him somewhere. Home plate umpire's down.
I felt like it hit him on the leg.
Trainer calls for a little bit of water for him. We'll take a moment here. Keep an eye. That was in for a ball. So that was sent off the ground. Maybe I didn't hear a tip off the bat. If we can get a replay. I want to make sure he's okay first, but checking on him is Terry Smith, the Red Sox trainer, and the other umpires.
It's a tough job being back there when guys are throwing 90 mile an hour. It's very it's a very dangerous situation potentially every time you go back there. I mean, you've got all your equipment, but you know, doesn't cover every inch.
Just straight off the ground, right in the chest.
And not only are we glad to see that he's okay, but how fortunate are the Red Sox that that ball bounced right past the catcher, hit the umpire. Otherwise, that would have been a Pena moving up on that play.
It was a pitch late from the Jinx on the no wild pitches so far. 2-1 now the count, and it's an interesting moment. So glad the home plate umpire is now okay, but interesting what that does to the momentum for everybody. It's a reset for De La Cruz. It's a reset for the batter.
Right.
Home plate umpire, he's going to stay in. Awesome on him to do that. You got to think he's going to be a little bit extra hesitant, but everybody is ready to keep this one going. Still 2-1, De La Cruz, 2 Hammond.
Yeah, and that was one of those freak things about straight up off. It might have bounced off the plate.
2-1. Ball in the dirt again. De La Cruz, again, we talk about maybe a little bit rattled there from that moment. He's just not finding that bottom part the way he was the first 3 batters. 3-1. Really big at bat here. It's Jeff McLeod, the DH, on deck. Here's the 3-1. Right down Main Street. And again, McLeod's up next. Now full count, 2 outs. Huge pitch here. And McLeod, no RBIs, no homers on the season. You're not super worried about him potentially with no runners on third. But last thing you want to do here for De La Cruz is start letting this game slip out of your hand.
Hammond doesn't have a home run either, but he's still a dangerous hitter. The runner will be going here, so you're going to have to throw across on a ground ball.
The 3-2. De La Cruz. He deals. Wow, inside part of the plate. I am going to guess high. I didn't quite see where that missed.
Yeah,
him.
I thought that pitch was up personally. He's been pretty good with the top end of the zone all game long. And so now you just got to go right at this hitter here. You got a runner in scoring position.
So here's Jeff McLeod up fourth time today. Had a single back in the 4th. He struck out in the 6th.
We might see a pinch hitter here.
Yes, we will. New bat coming in here for the Guelph Royals. We talked about McLeod, not a ton of power threat, at least not statistically. So Jordan Gallo is going to come in and going to be the man for the Royals. Big spot here. About as big as he can get for a pinch hitter. He's had 53 at-bats on the year, typically an outfielder. Gallo has hit 264. Got 8 RBIs on the season.
It's a tough assignment here coming in against a guy who throws at 90. But in fairness, De La Cruz is having a little bit of trouble. Last couple of hitters throwing strikes. And that's really what gives a manager gray hair. You get to the situation, you got 2 out. You got a good matchup. Just got to throw strikes to this fella.
1-0. That one struck pretty well. Paolo's trying to track it in center. He's under it, makes the catch, and retires the side. Huge moment there for the Brantford Red Sox. De La Cruz was doing it all himself, wasn't letting anything by him. Finally does, and it's caught by Paolo's.
Well, like I say, all he really has to do is throw strikes with that stuff. He throws 90. He's got an exploding slider, just a nasty pitch. So, a lot of life. It's not like it's a flat 90 either, like a four-seamer. It's a good breaking pitch. So, throw strikes and good things will happen. It doesn't seem to matter to me what level you're playing at. If you're the type of pitcher that throws strikes, you will have success by and large. And when you add to that the kind of stuff that he's got, it's a really good recipe for success.
All right, so let me follow up on that stat I was mentioning as the inning turns over and the Red Sox get what may be their final crack at offense with the lead up into the final couple innings. So I'm going to ask all of you fans out there watching at home, whether it's Rogers TV or YouTube, doesn't matter. Everybody here in person who can hear me, everybody in the production truck, and myself and you here, Brian, I want us all to knock on wood in this moment, all right? Because I'm about to make an ultra jinx if none of us do. So everybody out there, knock on the nearest wood you can find to you, but here's the stat. The last time the Brantford Red Sox won 4 consecutive games at home was capped off by a win against the Barrie Bay Cats on June 18th, 2014. At the time, the #1 song was Fancy by Iggy Azalea. The #1 film was Fault in Our Stars, and we are in an entirely different IBL world. That was coming off, for those that don't know, that was a year removed, a couple months removed from the final title in that run of 7 by the Brantford Red Sox. So a dominant organization for that dynasty. It was right after a lot of the same pieces, and then they've gone into what many will call kind of the gray period here for the Red Sox organization. As they come back, as we flaunt the offensive success, I think if they can capitalize, and again, let's all knock on wood, but if they can do it 4 in a row at home, I think that may speak, Brian, to a new era, or at least kind of the rekindling of what was a dominant IBL offense.
Well, and they're doing it the old-fashioned way. They're getting good pitching. They're playing solid defense, timely hitting. It's not like they're going up there and, they've had a couple of games where they've scored a bunch of runs, but they've also had a couple of games where they haven't given any up. And so Connor Irvin leading the way, the bullpen pieces, and, it may sound self-serving to, pump up the tires on the boss, but since Terry Smith took over as the day-to-day manager, he has defined roles for this team, and that was something that I spoke to on your program a few weeks ago, that guys just didn't seem to have defined roles, specifically in the bullpen. They've been fighting through the injuries. Ortega's been hitting, Tachioka's been hitting, this weekend not included, notwithstanding. But, like I said earlier, Brantford doesn't need quite as many pieces as people think they do to have success in this league, to be honest. They're only a couple of 3 pieces away.
First pitch, wide side to Chris Ortega. Called strike as it comes out of the catcher's glove. An update, Morrison update. Evan Morrison had an RBI single an inning ago in the 5th. That will open up his lead in the batting title race against Tachioka. Here's the 0-1. That one struck well. Ortega puts it out to center. Tracking back is the center fielder. Gets it on the warning track, as close as you get here at Arnold Anderson. About a 380-foot hit that comes down as a flyout.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for Ortega, who just hit it into the deepest part of the ballpark there and back out into, Death Valley. It reminds me of old Yankee Stadium when they used to call that one spot Death Valley. It was 400 and whatever feet, and it was just so hard to hit a ball out of the zone, out of the ballpark, sorry, and he really crushed that, but nice play by the center fielder. Nice grab.
First pitch here to Cassidy Watt, who's up for a 4th time today. Now, Ortega was a couple feet off a home run. Here's a guy that promised me a home run the rest of the year at home on Red Sox Report on Friday. Looks at another ball. He's going to start getting hittable pitches. This is where I want to see a power swing, but 2-0. Big spot here, 1 out in the inning.
Well, he can certainly load up on a fastball here.
That one was hit. A little bit short of the center fielder. Getting it is Patterson, Ashton Patterson. He ranged back for one. He ranged forward for another. He's keeping this game alive for the Royals, and a quick point from Pena there to reward him for his efforts.
Yeah, I bet he wasn't counting on an inning full of wind sprints here. He had to really book it to get back to his back and left to get Ortega's ball, and then he had to charge straight forward to get to Watt's ball. So that's a tough one too, because the swing, he took a big swing at that, but he got it off the end of the bat, and so your first reaction should always be to take a step back, and then he realized it wasn't going to get to him, and he started taking off.
That one sent foul, first base area over the dugout. 0-1 here to Andrew Savage, who got on base with a single, but then an error on the throw from, I believe that was Takamatsu's only error of the day, then resulted in him moving up to second. His only hit, he's 1 for 3. Close side, no call from the umpire, 1-1. So this is Ward in now to clarify for the Guelph Royals. Kicks and deals. That one struck pretty well. Center field area, a lot under it, but too much underneath it. Catch made. Ashton Patterson with a trio. I don't know if you could have an immaculate inning as a center fielder, but that's about as close as you get.
I would think so. He doesn't qualify quite for that, but it sure was a good inning, and he tracks the ball very, very well. Really good defensive outfielder. And so now we go to the 9th, and hopefully De La Cruz can get his job done today. He's looked really good in the 8th inning there. And I think we're looking at
it's going to be Fenwick, Patterson, Morrow.
8-9-1. Yep. So important to get those first 2 batters in the order to make sure when the top of the order comes up, you got 2 out and nobody on. And like I said, it just boils down to, by and large, hitting the outside quadrants of the plate. If he can do that, then I foresee him being okay this inning. He's just Morrow's a guy you don't want to make a mistake to.
Well, let me do a little bit of housekeeping here as Jorge De La Cruz warms up for his final inning of work. First of all, I want to thank everybody for watching at home for an awesome Sunday of IBL Baseball. Whether you're watching us on Rogers TV, maybe the Brantford Red Sox IBL YouTube, wherever you're joining us from, we thank you for taking time out of your Sunday. Always happy to have extra people here at the ballpark. It's been a reverse tariff season all year here at Arnold Anderson Stadium. And after today, there are 2 more home games left, next Friday and next Sunday. That's a game against Toronto on Friday and the season-closing game against Hamilton on the 17th. If you're a Brantford Bulldogs fan, maybe you've watched a lot of Brantford Bulldogs hockey here on Rogers TV. Friday is going to be Hockey Night in Brantford. That's a tie-in with the Brantford Bulldogs, and we might see some representatives there. I haven't heard word yet. I'd love to see Zach Hyman make an appearance, but you never know. That game on Friday, and then Fan Appreciation Night. If you've come out to a game, if you've supported the Red Sox all season, we want to thank and appreciate you for all you do. That game next Sunday, tune in there. But we thank you all for watching, and I thank my awesome volunteer crew for surviving a toasty day here at Arnold Anderson. We're calling a great game of baseball. It's been great on the field, and they're putting on a great product at home. Start of the 9th. Here's De La Cruz. First pitch struck. First pitch right at Bateman. Gloves it on the weird hop. Gets it to first. First quick out there off Anderson Fenwick.
Well, nothing better than a 1-pitch, 1 out. I'm a big fan of that every time, that's for sure. And, to your point earlier, we're for an IBL game, it's been a pretty quick one. Here we are in the 9th inning, only about 2 hours and 20 minutes in. That's about an average time for an MLB game, but we don't have a pitch clock here. So getting this far in 2 hours and 20 minutes in the IBL is a pretty good game time, and we've seen good pitching and good defense on both sides.
So 1 out now. Ashton Patterson, defensive star of the last inning. First pitch, oh, off the leg of Patterson. That one's going to sting, and he hobbles off to first. The last thing De La Cruz wanted to do.
Yeah, especially a number 9 guy in the order. The last thing you want to do is hit anybody at any point in time. But keeping in mind, we just got a real good glimpse in the bottom of the 8th of the velo that this guy's got with his running. And so, you know, anything gets into a gap or whatever, and he'll probably easily score from first base. So De La Cruz gets himself into a bit of a sticky wicket here, and we'll see if he can manage to get himself out of it. Again, execute those pitches with his natural ability and his stuff. He should be okay. He just can't make a mistake to this guy. And not to mention the guy that's on deck who's batting about 500.
Here's a man De La Cruz hasn't seen yet today. Connor Morrow back up, the leadoff hitter, 1 for 4. Inside part of the plate, too low, says the home plate umpire, 1-0. So Patterson now on first after being hit by that pitch. Franklin Torres is now on deck, who De La Cruz has not faced yet either. 2 walks, a single, and a strikeout for Torres. Keep an eye on him on deck. Low side, well gloved by Savage. 2-0 to De La Cruz.
There's Savage again, just a master of, you know, he's got a career at first base if it ever needs give up on him catching-wise, because he can pick that ball, man. Coming in at 90 mile an hour, he never seems to miss on that backhand pick.
Not sure who we'll see starting at catcher next year, but Savage knows his stuff. Right down the middle. De La Cruz back on the board, 2-1.
Really important pitch there. You can't go down 3-0 to the number 1 hitters here, so right at it again. I would think maybe a fastball, a live fastball that tails a little bit, try and get some soft contact.
2-1.
Runner
goes, tries the throw, too wide. Ball is wide, runner goes to third. The last thing Savage could afford to do. And now a base runner on third. That's Patterson after the hit by pitch. The throw was wild on his swipe of second. Gets away, and now he finds himself on third.
Well, I don't know. I might need to see a replay of that, but I felt like that Savage was looking for some interference on the hitter. Like he came out in front of him. One thing for sure is that he worked on that quick release, and it just caused his arm to get behind, because as soon as, from our angle, we could tell the ball was heading right of target, right on release there, but it looked like he was trying to get through, and he ran into the batter. So I don't know if he came out to the left and went into the batter, if the batter came out of the box.
The ball hadn't even got to second, and Savage has already turned around talking to the umpire, so he must have known immediately. Bouncer, they're going to say it is foul, so the AB stays alive, 2-2. So this is huge now here for De La Cruz. He's got Morrow in a spot that he's 1 strike away from the out, but Torres coming up on deck to close out the game. What a climactic at-bat to potentially end off this contest.
Yeah, we got high drama here. Morrow is a real good stick, real good at putting the ball in play. You got the infield in, which is going to make it easier for him to punch it through.
Here's the
need a strikeout.
Full count. That one struck well, but foul off to the left-hand side. That could have been a big swing of the bat for Morrow.
Yeah, let's not throw it there again.
De La Cruz. I believe the count 2-2. Says 3-2 live here at the stadium, but I'm going to go with our count.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's still 2-2. I like the outside slider here. We want to get a soft contact, and that's probably the best way to do it.
De La Cruz. That one chopped. Well, Guelph, no, it's not. Ortega almost gets the leather on it, and the run comes in to score. Base runner on first. We'll have to see a replay of that one. It looked like Ortega almost got the leather on it, and it just pops and rolls away.
Well, he definitely got a piece of it there. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to come up with the ball, and that would have been a real good situation if he comes up with that.
Yeah, hard to tell. Looks like he almost got there.
He certainly got a piece of it. If he comes up with that, it was hit so hard. I don't see any way in which the runner comes in with any kind of a decent throw. In fact, I'm not even sure he would have tried. But now you've got the leadoff hitter on first, and De La Cruz is pretty good at getting home, so they may run again here. Who knows?
First pitch, too low. Ball 1, and so here we go. 2-2 now. This has been a quick ball game, but we will need the bottom of the 9th. The Brantford Red Sox, for all they've done at home this year, have not walked off a ball game at home. They've done it once this year on the road. 1-0. Paul low in the dirt here to Torres. Torres already 2 walks on the day. Not a guy you can afford to get behind in the count against.
Well, De La Cruz has not been as sharp this inning as he was in the last inning. He has been missing his spots. But one good pitch can get you out of here for a double play.
So Morrow's on first. Wide part of the plate. I'm going to say it. Nice frame there by Savage, 2-1.
I was going to say the same thing. That was a real good frame job there. But in fairness, the umpire had his arm out pointing before Savage had even finished framing that pitch. And the umpire heard it a little bit from the Guelph bench. In fact, he's hearing a little bit more. He's trying to shut it down. That's a big pitch, though, right? I mean, 3-0 versus 2-1. That's a huge pitch.
So here's Torres. Kiner Pena's 2 for 4. He's on deck. Deals. In the dirt again. Well gloved by Savage. Was ready if the runner went, but 3-1. These next couple pitches are huge.
Well, Morrow has bluffed the last 2 pitches. So I don't know if he's just working on his release, getting out quick, or whether he might actually go here. I'd be surprised, considering how well Torres hits, if he'd go on a 3-1 pitch.
Like, this is where Brian and I just focus on the batter. That one fouled off, makes it a full count for the second batter in a row. And I think if you're De La Cruz, Morrow goes, especially here on 3-2. But you're a good enough pitcher. You can take 2 batters out of the game. Just focus on doing that. Let Morrow do what he wants to do.
Couple of tough customers here in Torres, who's got a high batting average, and Pena, who hit him hard last time up, hit a base hit through the hole. So really important to make a good pitch here and make sure you get 2 outs.
Full count. Kicks and deals.
Runner.
Ball sent. Down. Caught.
Double
yes,
play?
it is. Double play chance. Back home, not in time. Gets to the catcher. It was a nice throw in by Black, but to get to that ball to record the second out, great play on defense.
Nice play, but unfortunately overthrew first base. He had a real shot at a double play there, but he overthrew the bag. In fairness, he got rid of it real quick, and Torres has got to be lamenting his bad luck because he hit a real solid shot there, but it just hung up long enough for Brody Black to get underneath it. And made a nice sliding catch, but couldn't make the good throw to get Morrow, who was running on the pitch, doubled off. So, and a real nice piece of hitting there. I'm not even sure that was a strike, to be honest with you. Morrow was going on the pitch, had to get back in a hurry, but that ball was airmailed over top of Cassidy Watt at first base.
That ball's there in time. You're right, Brian. He gets him there. Kicks and deals. Runner goes. The throw. It's to the... Oh, it's gone again. Off to Palos. Was there in time, a little bit off target though. Runner goes all the way to third. It's just what we saw with Patterson again. Luckily, gloved enough that they keep him held there. Can't go home, but that throw was in time. It was just so far back to the third base side that was going to be a tough play there by Cantor.
Well, I tell you what happens there. That Bateman, the middle infielder, all he can do is try a real quick pick and swipe tag, because anything other than that, you'll have no chance to get him. So you can see that the throw came in on a bounce just on the third base side. He had to backhand pick it and sweep tag all at the same time. Really tough to do. That's when you count on your shortstop to be behind you to be able to pick that off.
Pena, that one sent foul, 1-1.
And so now you've got a real interesting situation where, like I say, Pena hammered him last time through the hole on a mistake pitch that he made middle. And so now you've got to make a good pitch here, because Pena's already showed everybody that if you make a mistake to him, it's going to be 3-2 Guelph.
1-1. Pena chops that one. Foul again by a couple inches. And you can make an argument the way those plays at second have gone with the base runners on steals. If every play today is made by a Brantford Red Sox second baseman, this could be a 2-0 ball game. It's really come down to those key moments of fielding, specifically the pops from Savage to second.
Right, and like I said, he felt like the batter interfered with him, but that throw was well off on the first stolen base.
The Patterson one, yeah.
Yes, and, great jump by Patterson, really good read there, because De La Cruz is not slow to the mound. He doesn't have a big leg kick. He comes pretty quick home and really great jump to get to second base.
De La Cruz needs a strike. Too high, doesn't get it there. 2-2 now the count. He's got one more ball to work with, and then he's in crunch time. De La Cruz can put a strike on the board more or less whenever he needs to. Now is the crucial time to do so. 2-2. Right down the middle. That ball finally in play for Ortega. The throw. in time, well gloved, and they'll retire this side. Top of the ninth, could have ended the ball game, a run ago, but Patterson hit by a pitch, gets on first, the misplay to third. Morrow brings him home with the RBI. That was a situation, Brian, that today for the Red Sox, what's been so good as opposed to the usual offensive explosion is execution and efficiency. That finally breaks up a little bit of a mistake on a couple fielding plays, and unfortunately for them, this ball game keeps going.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. That's how you generate. Like, I mean, they really, Guelph did a great job to generate that run. So you're going to see a more high leverage guy come in now, and I believe it's going to be Edgar Garcia come in and try and keep this going. For the uninformed, you know, obviously this guy throws hard. He's got a really good breaking pitch. He's got an ERA of about 2.6, 37 strikeouts in 37 innings. He started 5 games for them. So the only thing, and the one thing you notice too, is he's a really big dude. So the only thing that you're hanging your hat on a little bit here is that being a starter, they don't generally get out of the gate as real quick, and so now you've got a situation here where if you can get a runner on him, a runner on base early, you might have an opportunity to steal a base. And so is it Paulus leading off?
Yeah, it's going to be Paulos, Bateman, Cantor.
And Paulus is a great example. So you got a left-handed hitter up, so a good matchup here, a high average guy who also runs real well and can steal bases. He hasn't stolen a lot of bases, but he can run. And so, you know, he can get on base, maybe get up to second, move him along with a bunt, and then bring him home to walk this off. And let's hope they can get that happen. But make no mistake, Edgar Garcia is a tough customer, a really good pitcher. One thing you know about Guelph is that they're never going to run out of good arms coming out of that bullpen.
Do you know what stands out to me here, Brian, looking at the batting order for this inning? Again, bottom of the ninth, opportunity for the first walk-off at home this season for the Red Sox. So Paulos has been in some big spots, but as the leadoff hitter, he hasn't often been the guy to score many RBIs this year. He's often the start of big innings rather than the cap-off. Lucas Bateman, similar situation. Jacob Cantor, very new to the team, doesn't really have a signature moment yet. And Jeremy Veilleux, really in terms of RBIs and run production, not the year he was probably hoping for as a veteran of this team. So what this says to me, Brian, huge opportunity down the stretch here in the Brantford Red Sox season for one of these 4 guys to get their signature moment in front of these home fans.
Well, a lot of these times, you know, I often tell the players when you're looking at the batting order, you have to look 3 or 4 down to who's going to have likely a really high leverage opportunistic at bat. And it strikes me that Veilleux, being the 4th one coming up in this inning, might be up there. If they can get a runner on, it's likely going to be down to Veilleux to end this game.
Here's Paulos. First pitch right up in the air. Not the way he wanted to start this one. Caught by Takamatsu. First out.
Yeah, he got a pitch to hit there, but he got underneath it, so that's too bad for Paulus. You hope that he would work the count a little better than that, really put it to Garcia to make some good pitches. The good news here is that Bateman, similar hitter to Paulus, doesn't hit for near as high average, obviously, but he also can hit small ball. He can also run. We know he has some stolen bases this year.
Garcia, his first pitch into Bateman, a ball. And what you talked about is that's the mix. First pitch he swings at, puts it right up in the air. But you talked about Garcia, usually a starter. Do you want to give him time to warm up? Do you just want to start going at pitches? Might have jumped ahead of that one, but not the worst idea as Bateman's now up 2-0.
Well, I'll say this. I always tell my players, just have a plan. If your plan is to look for a fastball up and you get it, then you hack at it. That's executing their plan. Whatever your plan is, execute that plan.
That one struck pretty well out towards right field. Ranging back, turning around. Nice catch made by Fenwick. He's been exceptional out there.
Well, he was playing really shallow on Bateman, too, and so he had to go back hard to get that ball. If that ball is up another 2-3 feet, that's going all the way to the wall and probably a triple. So, like I say, I was surprised at how shallow he was playing, even albeit a right-handed hitter that doesn't have a whole lot of power. You know, Garcia throws it near 90, and, you know, the exit velo is going to come off that bat real quick.
So Jacob Cantor will start it off here. Here's a guy on a hot streak with walks. 2 in his last 2 ABs. First pitch he sees, swings at it, puts it foul, and that's what he was known for in his early stages of Brantford tenure, always swinging at that first pitch.
It's a strange dichotomy of first pitch swinger and yet still has a lot of walks.
And strikeouts. He goes late in a lot of ABs. A 1. That one struck over the head of the shortstop. Gets it down. Huge time for Cantor to get his first hit of the day. And, well, not exactly in the manner we talked about, but You might have called it, Brian. Here's Jeremy Veilleux up in a big spot. Double could send this game home. Cantor is very quick on the base pass as you watch the replay here. Perfect swing up high. Cantor tends to like that high swing up in the high part of the zone and just belted it over the head of the shortstop, who, to be fair to Morrow, almost got up there for it.
All three batters swung at high fastballs thus far. And so, you know, if you're Veilleux, if you're paying attention.
See what he sees here. First pitch.
And there it is. That was the high pitch there that he got as well. So I don't know if Cantor will run or not, to be honest with you.
It's an appealing option. Yeah, 1. Thought about it. Ball high, 1-1. And so what is Cantor getting? If he's able to get the successful swipe a second, that means a single should logically send him home depending where it goes.
Yep.
I don't mind that. I would take that chance here, I think, if I'm Cantor. The 1-1.
Well, as I spoke about earlier, with 2 out and the number 9 hitter up, you're less likely to run.
Right.
Because then you've got the top of the order coming up. So the worst case scenario here is that Veilleux doesn't get a hit, and then you go to extra innings with the top of the order coming up.
That one struck. Foul down the parking lot area. 2-2-2 on the scoreboard.
The other side of that coin is if you can get him to second base. Veilleux is not a big power hitter. He doesn't hit a lot of balls to the wall, but he does hit a lot of line drives, and you can score from second on a couple of these outfielders.
Veilleux strikes that one. In play to the shortstop. Slow hops it. Throw to first. Ball in time. We are going to extras here at Arnold Anderson as the Guelph Royals, in a clutch moment, a key situation, they tie it up in the 9th, and now we find ourselves, like you said, we're going to see the top of the order for Brantford, and we're going to see the 4, 5, 6, which, interestingly enough, Takamatsu, Toppoli, and Hammond, who's had a good day.
So for the uninformed, the way extra innings work, it is the MLB rule where they send a runner out to second base, who, if memory serves, will be the last batter.
So it should be Veilleux for Brantford, and that should be Torres for the Royals. Which, you know,
Pena.
Guy with some speed. Oh, you're absolutely right. It is going to be. So that's interesting. So I actually don't know the rule. Are you able to pinch run for the extra runner?
Yes, you can pinch.
The catcher, though, right? Like Pena. Interesting what they do there.
That's the other thing, too. Like if you're, I will say this. If you're the home team, you probably pinch run for the catcher. If you're the road team, no matter what, you've got to go back out there on the field. So I would be less inclined, unless I have another stud catcher on my bench. So the other sidebar story here is the fact that we got a runner at second base, and up comes Damon Toppoli, second this inning, looking for his 500th RBI. And if I have an inclination that Brantford's going to come back and score 2, I would really love to see my old mate Damon Toppoli get that RBI.
We're more or less in a place where there are a few permutations that we don't see one of those two cool storylines come to a head here in the 10th inning. Selfishly, as a guy that scores these games, it's the first time I've got to use the 10th inning column in my score sheet, so big day for me. Here comes Takamatsu. So it's going to be, that is Pena out on second.
Yep.
So one advantage here for the Red Sox. You luck into having the catcher there, the extra man on second.
He's pretty athletic for a catcher, but he's not like they've got a rabbit out there who, might be a risk of stealing third. I would be absolutely shocked if they bunted Takamatsu here, to be honest, with his resume.
Oh, right in the back. First batter, De La Cruz. And in a third inning of work that I don't know if he was anticipating an inning ago. He starts it off. Going to put a batter behind Pena. Now the only thing, Takamatsu, to my knowledge, not a crazy speed threat, and at least Pena's in front of him, right? There's an element of you're only as fast as your lead runner. So,
well, this is a ideal scenario if you're looking for a rollover double play. Now the question is, with Damon Toppoli looking for his 500th career RBI, will you bunt him? They do.
The bunt. It's placed. There it goes. Gets the one out. All right. Well, Toppoli would have been interesting there had he gone for the swing. Again, really just needed a single at that point, depending how fast Pena could have run it out.
And that's really interesting, a guy looking for his 500th RBI, and you bunt him just to get that W. I
I don't like that. I'm going to say it.
I'm torn on that, to be honest with you. I get it. We got to win a ball game here, but you know, that's I say this. He's got another week left to get his RBI. I don't like the righty-lefty matchup here. I probably would walk this dude and put the force play on at home. We'll see what Terry Smith wants to do.
That's a really interesting point. Yeah, Hammond here up for the 4th time, a walk and a single today. The pitch. Well wide off the plate. De La Cruz looks a little bit shaken through the first couple pitches.
Yeah, I don't like pitching to Hammond here, but you've got a strikeout pitcher on the mound, so I certainly get the rationale.
So 1-0. Remember, runners on 3rd and 2nd. That's Pena and Takamatsu. Swing and a miss there. Evens it up 1-1 against Hammond.
And that's, like I was saying, that's the swing and miss stuff that De La Cruz has. Having said that, he's now in his 3rd inning, and he doesn't usually go 3 innings. He's probably getting real close to his pitch limit. But I also noticed that there's nobody warming up in the Brantford bullpen, so they're going to ride De La Cruz for this inning at least.
1-1. Wide again, 2-1. And important to mention there with the bullpen, you don't need to save arms for anything. This is the final game of a 4 games in 4 days stint here for the Red Sox. So what does that say to you? Nobody warming up behind.
Well, like I said, they're going to ride De La Cruz. I don't know. A possible 11th inning could be problematic for Brantford.
That one struck. Off the glove. The run will come home. Watt is in some discomfort. That one caught him oddly. Might have been the wrist. Both runners come in to score. Takamatsu and Pena in. And this ball game that was 2-1 heading into the 9th is 4-2 an inning and a half later. And Watt is in some discomfort. He's coming to talk to the trainer.
Well, I'm not sure. Well, I know what happened. I'm just not sure why it happened. It was a line drive to the feet of Cassidy Watt, and he put his glove down to catch it, and he just whiffed on it and hit him right in the wrist, and he's gone directly to the locker room. So they're going to need a replacement first baseman out here. I'm guessing Veilleux will come out, and they'll just ditch the GH for this game. That'd be the easiest way to deal with it anyways, or maybe they're going to use Devapalan.
It is going to be Devapalan coming out in at first. Huge opportunity for him, too. We talked about earlier guys that really need a signature moment here on offense for the Red Sox if we see him back up in the next inning, which we should. I mean, if we get even a single hit here in the again, the leadoff side, he's number 4 in the top of the bottom of the 10th, pardon me. So 4-2 now the lead for the road side. The Guelph Royals have come back with force in the last 2 innings. Up to bat here is Gallo.
Well, like I said, that was just a weird situation there where the line drive went directly at Watt. He didn't have to move. It went right. I thought it hit him in the leg, but he just whiffed on it with the glove there. And that's if he comes up with that, that's probably a double play because the runner on 3rd was a good 20 feet off the base.
First pitch wide of the zone. De La Cruz down 1-0 here to Gallo, who, important to mention, 8 RBIs, 10 walks to 9 strikeouts. He's a guy that's good in long counts.
But that's that rope that Hammond hit on the righty-lefty. Watch out now.
Long lead. They're going to try it. Got him. Not even close. And I got to say, if the Royals have one obvious shortcoming today in terms of execution, it's those long leads on first.
Well, they feel like, I'll say the same thing that I said about Torres a few innings ago. They feel like they're timing these pitchers up, and they're trying to get these walking leads, and he was 20 feet off the base to the point where there wasn't even, all he had to do was throw it over, lob it over. There was no play there.
Strike there. The results of this at-bat could now end the inning.
But just to finish the thought on Hammond, we all have 20/20 hindsight, and so it's easy for me to sit up here and say I'd have walked Hammond, but at the end of the day, they felt like they could get swing and miss out of Hammond. He just made a mistake pitch, and he hit a rope, and unfortunately Cassidy Watt was unable to pick it up, and let's hope that Cassidy Watt's okay, because like I say, it looks like he got about a 90-mile-an-hour ball right in the wrist.
Too close, too low. Full count again, 3-2 and 2 extra innings. Can you write the script any better? This is Gallo. Fenwick behind, should he be needed. Kicks and deals. Struck off the bat. Huge for Gallo just to get a piece of that and keep this alive.
Yeah, it was a good spoil there. It was a good pitch, slider, busted him in with it, and managed to get a piece. So real nice piece of hitting there, spoiling a good pitch.
Huge moment here. De La Cruz will have to rely on his offense.
Yep.
But he gives it to him with only 2 runs to spare. Sits him down on strikes. Gallo, the first K here for De La Cruz since back in the 8th inning, 2 full innings ago. It's interesting. This game, I would say, Brian, as we turn over for the all-important offensive side of the 10th inning, down 4-2 now to the Guelph Royals. De La Cruz has just looked like not necessarily a terrible, relief pitching appearance again, making a rare 3 innings. He has looked different, though. He hasn't looked like the style of pitcher I'm used to seeing with De La Cruz. Maybe it's the heat, maybe it's the big moment. Whatever it is, not a strike for 9-hole batters, which for him is an eternity.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And pardon me, I just there seems to be a discussion going on with Dino Ramel.
Keep an eye. Garcia's coming back to pitch. The defense looks the same for the Royals, so this may be a chat about the Red Sox, maybe their lineup.
I kind of feel like there's a new player going in to the game at second base.
Keep an eye here.
Is that I'm not sure. Is that Torres or is that not Torres?
Well, Torres wears 44. Can't quite get an eye that
26.
far out.
I'm almost sure it was number 26.
26 is going to be... I believe it's Claudio Custodio.
See, and I thought that was Custodio too, but I've known him. I know that he has played in the infield before. I remember from years back, as much of a, because he was the best pitcher in this league by a mile, anywhere leading up to around the COVID period. But would also, I recall him playing second base against us when I was in Kitchener.
So don't forget, it is going to be Jeremy Veyu, the man on second base as the pinch runner, as he was the last batter in the bottom of the 9th. So Torres out of the ball game here in favor of Custodio. And here's Brody Black. Big opportunity here. First pitch in for a strike. He's 3 for 4 today.
So yeah, your ghost runner is Veyu. Keeping in mind they need 2, and so the 4th hitter being Devapalan, I don't know if they'll let him hit. He hasn't really shown a lot with the bat, or whether they're going to use somebody else to hit.
That one struck pretty well. Trailing out to right. It's down. Comes in. Veyu will take the run off to third. Ball thrown in nicely to the infield. Now runners on the corners. And we talk about a guy slow off this weekend, 0 for 14 in the batting title race. What a moment here this could be for Tachioka.
Well, absolutely. For a team that not going to the playoffs, this is about as high leverage a situation as you're going to throw a fella. He's trying to win a batting title. Nice piece of hitting there by Brody Black, showing everybody why he bats number 1, because he can take a pitch like that and dump it down the line. And smart play by the outfielder, getting it back in and going to second, not worrying about the play at home. Keep the runner at first base. So what we've got here is a strange situation where it's probably a bunt situation, but
first pitch swung at, though it is sent foul, 0-1. And important to remember, Chris Ortega now on deck. He's already got 5 RBIs and 2 homers worth this weekend.
Yeah, a red-hot Chris Ortega coming up with the tying run on first base. So very important at the very least to get Black up to second.
That ball wide and high off the plate. Really strong take there by Tachioka.
Left fielder is very shallow. Actually, all the outfielders are real shallow on Tachioka. He's got a couple of home runs.
Yeah, he's got 2.
2 or 3. So we know he can hit a home run. He just normally is a slap hitter, kind of Punch and Judy, we used to call him.
Ball wide as well, 2-1.
Now, one thing that would really drive Dino Ramel nuts is if he ended up walking Tachioka here and put the tying run at second base and the winning run on first with nobody out and their hottest hitter up at the plate.
Drive Tachioka crazy too, because it's not a hit. Walk doesn't help you on the batting race. Here it comes. 3-1. Great takes here off the wide side on Garcia by Tachioka.
But as you know, we all know Tachioka, and he's a quality guy, and he'll be thinking of the win before he's thinking of himself. So he will definitely take a walk here knowing that he's the winning run.
The bench is fired up. The fans are fired up here at Arnold Anderson. The 3-1. That ball barely going to go foul over into the third base grandstand. Big that ball got out of play. And here is another full count pitch. So remember the situation. Veyu's on third as he was the ghost runner. Brody Black is on first after a single last time up. And here is Ren Tachioka. Full count.
I send the runner here. I trust Tachioka to get the ball in play.
I agree. Pitch.
Runner
goes. Tachioka through the hole. There's a hit finally. Pumps the arm. One comes in, and Black is around to third. Tachioka is fired up like you rarely see him. Fist bump the first base umpire. That's a huge moment as the Red Sox cut the lead to 4-3 in the 10th.
Well, what a huge at bat. And so now the double whammy is you've got the tying run on third base with nobody out and your best RBI guy up at the plate. But let's look even further than that. The best stolen base guy in the league is now on first base with a guy who is not real quick to the plate. So I don't know what pitch, but I'll be just floored if Tachioka doesn't go here at some point. It wouldn't shock me if he went first pitch.
3-step lead. Goes. Tachioka, no doubter. Oh my goodness, got him by about 6 steps. He is an absolute menace on the base paths.
So now if you're Dino, you put Ortega on first. You don't mess around with Ortega. And that's the only downside to Cassidy Watt getting hit in the wrist. The other downside to running here is that you're going to take the bat out of Ortega's hands.
Right.
And,
Speaking of taking the bat out of his hands, I think he's swapping it out. Is he taking off his stuff?
Well, yeah, that's intentional walk.
Oh, didn't even notice the signal. All righty. So talk about making a moment for yourself as a hitter. DeVapel, and he's got no outs on the board. The double play isn't really a game ender. DeVapel, describe, if we can, his offensive numbers on the year.
Well, he's got 2 hits all year. He's batting 105, so you have to think that one of the beauties of baseball is, now why is the middle of the infield back?
It's a fascinating question. Maybe not many scouting report readers out there in the outfield, but they've been great today.
Well, all I'm saying is that is accepting a tie game with a runner on third and nobody out.
You've got Tachioka on second. You got to think a single's a threat to win this ball game. That one fouled off.
Right, but like I said, when you think defensively, obviously the corners have to be in to try and get the play at home. But you've got the middle of the infield that's back at double play depth, which means a ground ball up the middle will tie the game.
Right.
But they think that, and DeVapel is a good double play candidate here.
Garcia needs a strike. The pitch. Swing and a miss. He got it there. DeVapel sat down. First out of the inning, still a favorable spot. And the next man up is Andrew Savage.
And that's
Andrew Savage.
That's a difficult situation for DeVapel, who hasn't had an at-bat in some time. And like I said, he's got 2 hits on the year. So it's just a weird situation in a season of weird situations that have gone against Brantford's interests, that a guy like that is up there with bases loaded and nobody out.
First pitch to Savage. Gets the strike on the wide side. I think Savage talked to him, got confirmed where it was, said it was wide. We'll see what he does on 0-1.
So now you see the situation where you've got the catcher up, and again, double play depth for the middle infield, and they will risk it and go for a double play here. If they can pull off the double play, they'll win the ball game.
Let's see what they do here. 0-1. Swing and a miss. Great movement there vertically by Garcia. He's heating up here in the most crucial moment possible. Remember, bases loaded, a single with Tachioka's speed, a threat to win the ball game. Any ball put in play that isn't a double play should bring home the lead runner.
Well, just an aside here, the Red Sox need to get somebody up in their bullpen. There's no way, I don't see any scenario where De La Cruz can go again to a 4th inning. He hasn't thrown 4 innings all year long.
Again, you got no games left this week. You don't have anybody to save.
Sunday, there's nothing to hang on to. You got to get somebody up in the bullpen.
I think I might see Tyler Susie out there, but not warming up actively.
Oh, he's on the band, so maybe they're starting to get him warm.
1-2 to Savage. Big pitch coming. Wide part of the plate. Great take. 2-2. A walk would also bring home a run at this point. At this point, a walk's almost the best thing you can do, right? Besides a big hit, of course.
Well, short of shooting one into the gap, yeah.
Home run would be nice, but, you know, we're keeping it realistic here. 2-2, 1 out. Bases loaded.
Takamatsu shockingly off the line, a good 15 feet off the line.
That ball chopped. Up to the shortstop. Long bouncer. Run comes home for one. Not in time. The ball game is tied. Coming home. The run comes home to score. And the Brantford Red Sox catch them sleeping. Tachioka did it with his first single of the weekend. And he comes home out of nowhere to win the ball game. Oh my goodness. For the first time in 4,071 days, the Brantford Red Sox have won 4 straight at home, and they do it as Tachioka catches the virtually impenetrable defense, sleeping on the base pass. What a way to cap it off.
So let's break this down. You got a high chopper that went to shortstop, cut off by Takamatsu. What's going on here is they're going to go for that double play, but unbeknownst to Damon Topley at first base is that they sent the runner home from second, who is Tachioka, who is their best base runner. And so because of the length of time that it took to put that double play together and the good wheels by Tachioka, smart base running. And I don't know whether it was Tachioka's smart base running or a good send by the third base coach, which I certainly would have done. I certainly would have sent him home there, and they did send him home, and they didn't even get a throw off. So what a great steal of home, essentially, and 3 runs in the bottom of the 10th to walk the game off. What a fantastic. And the Royals are shocked. They cannot believe they just let that happen. And so, you know, that's just really, really high-level baseball IQ shown by Tachioka there to score from second on a ground ball.
As I finish up here, I'm going to make one more request from our Rogers TV crew. If we can see one quick replay of Tachioka, whatever we have, him coming home, if we can get a slowed down angle, it is going to be all over the IBL this week. So if we have it, we'd love to see it. But let me finish up today, Brian, because holy cow, what a day of baseball. It was a hot day. We luckily don't have sun delays here on Sundays like we do on Fridays. Here comes the here goes the bucket of ice, and just what an incredible moment here. Thank you for joining us. We head into extra innings today, a rare extra innings game here for the Brantford Red Sox IBL. I mean, just walking it off at home for the first time. Tachioka, the guy for the batting title. Might see it here in a few moments, but unbelievable day. Terry Smith's out there with the team to see him getting mobbed again for a team that doesn't have playoffs to look forward to, Brian. This is as well as you can do. Before we send you off, let's cap it off. Have you seen a moment like this all year?
Well, you know, obviously we haven't seen a moment like this all year, especially at home or on the road for that matter. And so what you're seeing is a team that's starting to come together. The boss has got it going on here. So here's that's a great look. Tachioka, and so he comes around and there's the runner from third, and so there you see Tachioka coming in on that play there. And because it was such a high chopper and it was a slow developing play, truth be told, I thought he was safe at second, but they called him out at second, and he was certainly safe at first, and Topley had no idea that the runner was coming home. And, you know, we've got headphones on, so whether they were yelling it from the bench, 4-4-4, I have no idea. But at the end of the day, when you boil it all down, they had absolutely no chance to get Tachioka at home. Just a great case of super base running. And you got to be so happy for this team, showing some grit, showing some life. Even though they're not going to the playoffs, they are playing for pride and playing for their home fans who have been out here supporting them all year long. So good on them.
Brian, I'm so glad we could share this moment today, man. We've called a lot of fun games this year. That may be the best. I want to thank our entire crew here at Rogers TV for putting on a great day of IBL baseball. To all our cameramen, to all of our crew on the Brantford Red Sox side of things, we thank you for today's final Rogers TV game of the season. Remember, Friday next week, Sunday next week, Hockey Night in Brantford, and then on the Sunday, Fan Appreciation Night. Those are both on the Brantford Red Sox IBL YouTube. For the 4th straight time at home, the Red Sox pick up the win here, 5-4 over the Guelph Royals. Alongside me, Brian Hawley, I'm Marshall Crocker, sending you off. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will see you soon here on Rogers TV for Red Sox Report and for Brantford Red Sox IBL Baseball. Have a great one, everybody.
3.